What's up, guys? Welcome back. All right, so we are getting ready for week 4 of some PUBG Mobile action, of course, brought to you by Nodwin Gaming Africa right here in the Inkosi Super Cup. And, of course, with me, I've got my lovely co-host here, Mr. Patrick. How you doing today, bud?
Hey, yo. Oh, I'm good. Yeah, no complaints, I must say. Good to get back into some action. I'm very excited to see what's going to be happening today. Of course, we were having some conversations a while back about this, but it feels like it's been forever since we saw these teams clashing it out, and I kind of want to see them go at it again. I want to see who are the teams to be looking out for right now, because from what I recall, there was some teams popping up out of seemingly nowhere, just putting a couple of very interesting performances on the board, and I want to see them maybe do that again, and maybe see who's going to really be the teams to watch to move forward.
Yeah, definitely agree with you that it's quite interesting to see how these teams perform and how they step up, so we just waiting to see which teams will be the ones that consistently do that. We are heading into week 4, as I mentioned, so we've got 4 more weeks after this one. So yeah, definitely going to be super interesting. A lot of space for these teams to improve and show us what they've got. And of course, today we're heading up into our first match, which will be our best of 1, which after that we'll be heading into the finals for the day. And of course, as you can see, there's our schedule. We've got our first group match. And then, of course, right after that, we've got our 3 final matches. All of them, of course, happening right here on the Wrangle mat. So definitely quite something to be looking out for. And it's nice to see, that we've got this nice repetition of maps coming in, because that is how we can kind of see what the consistency is of the teams. It's a nice little change up, and as we've seen now over the months actually that we've been busy with Inkosi Super Cup, this is a fantastic breeding ground for the teams. Gives them that opportunity to improve and get that consistency going that we are looking for. And of course, the second season of Umzansi being pretty evident of that. And of course, we have our leaderboard on as well. The players there from PUBG Esports sitting in pole position with 142. We got Rescue in second with 119. Ultra 6 in third with 106. Then, of course, we got God Gaming in fourth with 92. Black Clover with 85 in fifth place. The SAR Rebels in sixth with 70. We got Alpha Pack Esports in seventh with 55. We got Akatsuki. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. Akatsuki in eighth place with 54. And then, of course, we've got the Martians and Not Gaming sitting in 10th and 9th place. But, of course, that top 8 spot is where you want to be. That is the spot you want to find yourself in, because the teams sitting in those top 8 positions are going to be the teams that will move up and have the opportunity to participate in our promotion relegation at the end of this season for the Inkosi Super Cup.
Yeah, so looking pretty exciting there, I must say. A couple of team names looking up there that we certainly haven't seen up there before, at least since. So that's a pretty good look.
No, 100%. And we've got a few of those teams, of course, in the lobby that we're going to be spectating here for this first round of our group matches. And well, yeah, there's still a lot of room and space for the teams to make quite a bit of a change to this leaderboard. So I'm quite curious to see which teams are going to be the ones to be stepping up, because in this round, the group round, we've actually got 4 lobbies participating today.
Nice.
Yeah, so that is going to be pretty epic to see. So 4 lobbies of teams bashing it out to make their way on in towards that final. And of course, then they're going to be, hitting it up with those 3 matches. And well, they all be playing for the prize pool. So this is what you call a bit of a teaser, just showing it and then taking it away. But yeah, there we go. So we got the prize pool. Of course, that is the total prize pool for the Inkosi Super Cup. So that brings us to a weekly amount of $105. We got $45 for first place, $30 for second, $15 for third, and for fourth place. So of course, there is a reward at the end of the day for the teams participating, and that is one of the things that they are playing for. And of course, they're playing, as I mentioned, for that opportunity to head on into that promotion relegation and maybe get themselves right on up in towards the Umzansi season 3.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, there's pretty much incentive the whole way through from the beginning to the end. We're talking about weekly prizes coming up there, which is pretty nice. You get in,
Mm.
you hop in, you play some games. It's nice and competitive. You get to really stretch your skills a little bit and, exercise maybe scratch a bit of that itch for you just want to get in and play some competitive gaming. And there it is.
Yeah.
We've got some serious PUBG getting played on here every single week. And then, if you get up in the top, you get some prizes. And then at the end of the day, if you do well enough, you can move up into the Umzansi League potentially. And I mean, that's where the big boys are duking it out. That's where some serious punches are being thrown, and the big prizes are really up for grabs as well. So yeah, I mean, there's at this point there's no reason not to. You got a team, you hop on in, you sign up, you get yourself going, and there it is.
Yep, and if you wanna see how good your team is, this is one of the ideal places to actually measure them against the opposing teams. See how you place and how you fare against them, and of course, as you mentioned, you get an opportunity then to compete against the big dogs, the big boys in that Umzansi League, and of course, we've seen the teams actually coming in from season 2 of Inkosi, making their way into season. Oh yeah, no. The teams coming into season 2 of Umzansi, my bad. All right. Actually bringing the heat right out of the gate. And of course, this is one of the places where they've actually gotten that to happen, gotten those skill levels up. And it's absolutely fantastic. So I'm quite keen to see which teams will be the next batch of teams, to have their go at the Umzansi players.
Yeah, it is going to be quite interesting because, I mean, now as we're getting more and more signups and more teams participating, I mean, as you mentioned, we've got like 4 lobbies going or something. We've got a lot of teams in the mix right now. And all of them, of course, want to, prove themselves, prove their worth, try and get up in there. And I mean, that's great. I mean, there's more competition. The teams will have to be, they'll forced basically to be performing at a higher standard, which is great. And I mean, I'm definitely in that same boat. I'm very interested to see who is going to be those teams that could potentially, move maybe up into that Umzansi League. Who's going to be the challengers? Because, we've yet to see, any sort of clear-cut winner at this stage. There's a lot of teams that are, looking strong. There's no, clear victor at this stage.
Yeah, 100%. There's definitely quite a lot of potential here for the teams, to step up and beat that team that we are always looking for, that hunted team. Because once the teams start adopting that kind of hunter mentality, we actually see them flourish quite a bit. That has been pretty evident in Umzansi itself. And, this is definitely one of those breeding grounds where we see the teams have that potential to do that. And I must say, the competition that we are seeing just in this series, or this season rather, of the Inkosi Super Cup, it's already pretty tough. The teams coming right out of the gate, there's already a bit of competition. I'm quite keen on seeing how this will develop as we make our way through the upcoming weeks. And of course, how the teams will then develop in the process. And well, speaking of developments, we've got our lovely flight path right here on the map as well, as you can see coming in there from that Sosnovka military base. And of course, heading straight up in towards North George. And well, one thing that I'm looking forward to, or looking at the moment, is to see which teams will be, getting some of those non-redeemable patchy points.
Yeah, well, I mean, the argument still stands that, I believe that military island as a whole is potentially underutilized. You can maybe do some sneaky things from that position, but I'm also a stubborn dog, so even if I'm completely wrong, I'd still say the same thing. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, in recent times, I must admit that it has been a little bit more utilized than it was in the past. We have seen some teams moving down in that direction and actually starting to utilize it. That Nova area is a big one. And then, of course, the military base does see a little bit of traffic. And actually, it looks like we're going to be seeing a little bit of that moving in. 2 teams seem to have dropped in that position. It looks like Mars and Fear are sitting in the island. But, the zone's not going to be going in that direction. Unfortunately, no crazy southern zones coming out. It is just going to be, standard sort of slap bang on the mainland. And, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see if it does anything crazy towards the end.
Yeah, we'll definitely find out soon enough. But let's quickly just get into the teams that we got in this lobby. So we've got the players from the Berserk Vikings over in slot 5. We've got the Elite Newbies. We've got Empire Gaming. We've got Hawk. We've got No Fear. We've got the G $69. I'm not sure how to pronounce that just yet. Pretty sure we'll find out sooner or later. We've got Fear. We've got UAE Phantom. We've got the players from Insidious Gaming. We got the Don Putas. Should probably not say that too loud. But anyway, we got a Universe in here as well. We got the players from Skuku Esports. We got the Martians. We got Testo Gang. We got Uso Crimson, God Gaming, and LXG Esports. And of course, we've got a few territories also being represented in here. We've got the players. We got some teams coming in from Zambia, South Africa. We've got Nigeria playing. That's pretty much what I can see at the current moment. Oh, and then of course we've got Mauritius here as well. And we'll see once we move in to the next round, you know, what that is going to look like, how many teams we got in there. But I must say, I am liking what we are seeing here today. I don't know if you can see the difference, but there is quite a big difference in what we are seeing here today.
Right.
Let's see if Patchy can figure it out.
No,
Patchy,
I know exactly what's going on here. Yes, I'm quite aware.
There we go. No, I was just confirming.
Your cheesy hints and you know, bad whatever.
The DK-ness. That's what you call it.
That's a pretty accurate description of that.
Yeah,
you know, I like that.
Yeah, you know. But speaking of DK-ness, we got a few teams, of course, spread out, and well, Don Diablo, I think he forgot his floaty somewhere. We just saw him drowning ever so quickly. And that is actually not too far away from where we are in the current moment on the map. That, of course, just being over towards that southern side. So, Mr. Don Diablo drowning over in North George.
Tragic.
Yeah, it's quite surprising, though, you know, because we have those bridges and so many buildings in the surrounding area. So, it's interesting that he chose that position to move into. But, of course, on the screen here, we are watching the players there. From Universe 6-9 going up against the team from, well, the Berserk Vikings. So let's see what...
Universe 6-9.
Yes, sir.
Sounds like a fun universe to be in, must say.
Yeah, it's all-encompassing.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see what's gonna happen here. We've got some players hovering around. Jail for the distance, Cabal just across the street. But it seems like, you know, there's a nice movement here from what's Sicario?
Sicario.
No, that says that does say Sicario. You're right. Yeah. Readings.
Ooh, 1 point for DK.
Reading skills. Yeah.
First time I ever beat Patchy with the pronunciation of a name. Wow.
Yeah. Well, here we are. There's
someone please clip that, clip off that, save it somewhere.
The one time.
Down goes the Jag driver, though. Some beautiful shots coming in here from the Vikings, the Berserk Vikings.
Yeah, you can't drive your Jag past the Vikings; they will steal it.
Yeah, we just saw that happen right there. Got knocked right out, and of course we got a few players in the opposing area. One of them being a Kolbal, I guess. Interesting name, but there we go. That is what we have. So we got our 4 players, of course, here, as you can see now. This being over in South George. We got the team right here. This being the players from the UAE Phantom team right there in the thick of it with the team from No Fear. So let's see how these two teams are going to go at it.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see at the moment. You know, as I mentioned, it looks like there's a couple of things that I'm seeing a bit of a trend. And that is that a lot of teams that are close by are adopting similar strategies. Like on the one side of the map, we have a situation where there's a team very close together, and then the other team that's opposing them in the same compound is quite spread out. And the same thing you can see right here on your screen to be the case as well, although it does seem like one of those teams has decided to just hop in a vehicle and leave very quickly. So it's interesting that we're seeing that come through. Not really any massive engagements. No, you know, well, the Jag driver, of course, getting taken out, you know, but that's just because he got swiped out of his Jag as he was moving past. But I mean, we haven't seen any real big battles just yet. We've seen no pushes. No one's trying to take control of anyone else's compound. It's very, very, you know, a slow start, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, we have the players from Fear actually rotating right past the team there from God Gaming all the way down in that southern side off of that western bridge. So slowly but surely, they're now starting to make their way on up in towards the mainland. And of course, we still have the teams quite spread out for this first round, but that blue zone is moving in. So we're going to see the teams getting pushed closer and closer together. But of course, now Sicario cooking the nade up, trying to send it right across. Let's see, will it do the needed damage? Oh, there we go. 26 HP getting taken out right there. So not the most ideal grenade, not the most ideal
it was a pretty
position,
well thrown
but of
grenade,
course,
but,
yeah, it was. I mean, but of course now the remainder of the team pretty well spread out and manages to put the hits in. So there we go, one down, only one more to go.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see if anyone's going to come and rescue Kalbal, who's sitting on the ground at the moment. That the rest of the universe team is going to have to come and fetch him if they don't want him to die. But of course, this blue zone moving in is going to make that difficult. So they're really going to have to push for this. And with the players at the bottom moving across the compound, they're going to have to make a decision. Are they going to leave their comrade behind, or are they going to make a risky dash for it?
Well, Jay is definitely caught in a pretty tough position. I mean, there's 4 players just closing in on his position, and he now decides it's maybe a better choice to just get on up into that zone. They don't have that far to run, but of course, right up ahead of them, we got the players there from the Dons just sitting, and we might see a nice little bit of a gatekeep happening there as well. Down goes Mr. Kalbal. Jay now, the last remaining player there for his team. I don't think he's going to be able to make it up into zone in one piece. And of course, well, there's the answer. Yeah. The answer is no. Down he goes. But now just up ahead of the Vikings here, we've got the players just lying in wait, the Dons, as you can see right there on the map.
Yeah, we'll just wait and see if the Dons could potentially put the hits in as those rotations start to come through. I'm interested to see where the zone goes as well, because this shift is probably going to be a nice one, hopefully. Maybe it'll go somewhere interesting. Maybe we'll see that mountain in play, and it is still going to be in play, but the zone doesn't really do any hard shifting. It just goes sort of towards the middle of everything, so teams will get a bit closer, but ultimately nothing too crazy, which is sort of, you know, disappointing to say the least, because I want to see a few more fights start to happen, but with this sort of, you know, zone movement, we might not see that happen until a little bit later.
Yeah. So one region that I'm actually keeping my eye on is that southern region. We saw on the map there just for a quick brief moment that we've got 3 teams sitting in the south near that western bridge. That, of course, being the players there from, I think that is the Elite Newbies. Yes, the Elite Newbies. We got the players also from the Martians as well as God Gaming. So 3 teams in very close proximity. So we might see a few engagements coming in, as you can see on the map there. But it seems like the Elite Newbies are now starting to rotate up towards the north. But of course, now in the same breath, we got the players there from that from 6-9 right there next to the players from Empire Gaming. So we might see a few engagements also coming from that region.
Yeah, we certainly might. Hopefully we do. It seems like there's a couple of teams that are a little bit close, you know, 6-9, just off of the distance. I think this is Empire here that's just ahead of them. But yeah, like I said, I'm really hoping that some engagements start to come through, because when we've seen this sort of a setup coming out of teams, when we see the teams play it slow, and I mean, of course, this could just be, you know, when they realize it's the one game, they're trying to play it slow and safe, trying to get as many points as possible, because of course this group stage is gonna, you know, decide who moves up into the finals for today. But, you know, it's like this way of playing safe, this mindset, we've seen it time and time again. It's not conducive to any team that wants to come out ahead. Like if you're playing this competitively, like 100%, if you've got the if you've got that desire, that goal in mind to win this game right here, then the last thing you want to do is play passive. You know, we see passive play come out sometimes, but the best example of it is probably what we saw in the Umzansi League, I believe it was, when teams are very, very close in points. And what they do is, if one is ahead, then they can start to play slow or play different, play back, so that they don't risk losing the points to the other team that they're in contesting with, right? In this case, you're not contesting with anyone. This is the group round. All you want to do is try and get up into the top slots to move forward. But still, that being said, there's no reason to play passive here. Like, you still want to end up in the top slot. So sure, you want to make sure you get up there in the first place, and maybe playing slow can make that happen. But what we see more often than not is that all the teams manage to survive, or at least the majority of teams manage to survive up until the last few zones start to come into play. And then you just have so many teams and players on the board still sitting there very close together in a tiny space that then have to fight out. And I mean, that you're talking minimal cover. Everyone's just dying left and right. The shots are coming from all directions. There's no way that you can escape it. Every single shot, you're gonna go down eventually because everything's just chaos. You haven't controlled the flow of the game. You haven't made that space for you over the duration of the round. So, yeah, if this continues to be the way that the game plays out, then we're probably going to see a little bit of a chaotic ending, and maybe just a random set of teams that got lucky make it into the top.
Well, we'll definitely see how this goes. But of course, one thing that we are particularly looking for is the teams turning up the aggression, coming out, becoming that hunter team. Because, as we've mentioned before, that is really something that sets the teams apart from the rest. Is if you come in with that hunter mentality, you go out looking for the engagements, you go out looking for the fights instead of waiting for them to come to you. That puts you leaps and bounds ahead of the competition.
Yep.
But, well, we'll see. But, of course, now we've got several teams now slowly but surely starting to make their way in. In fact, we're seeing one of the players there from, I believe that's Hawk. Yes, Hawk getting ahead all the way up in Savoni. I think Fireboy is AFK at the current moment. But the remainder of the teams are now all making their way on up in towards zone, as you can see on the screen there. So we've got the players from Fear. We've got the team there also moving in from No Fear. Well, that is Fear and No Fear. That's quite funny. I'd love to see those two teams battle it out. But of course, a lot of movement happening in that southern section of the map. So I'm curious to see what is going to happen. Are they going to take these engagements? Are they going to play it passively? Or will we see a team start stepping up, start becoming the dominant team?
Well, I mean, we just saw two teams drive straight past one another, and I don't even think there was a shot fired there at all. I think the teams just swerved out of the way and moved somewhere else and didn't really do much else, which, I mean, that is pretty much the mindset that we've been seeing all across the board. Now, I did notice that we have a couple of teams in here that we've seen before do some pretty decent work, and maybe they'll step it up towards the end, because at the end of the day, if the scenario that I set out earlier is what's going to happen, we get so many teams remaining in the final zone, then it's going to be the teams with the most experience that are actually going to be able to thrive in that situation and stay alive. So maybe we'll see a team like Uzo or Empire actually come out on top of this.
Ooh, but I mean, we got some nice explosions now happening on the map as well, and we're seeing the teams actually start lining up nearly in the center of the map. They're nearly in the center, but they've got this nice north to south line coming in. You can see the players there from Uso just off in the distance, and slowly but surely, everyone's starting to trickle into the zone. I don't think, well, we've got only a few players still on the outlying areas. Strangely enough, the Vikings are still all the way up in Ruin. Now, that, of course, is 100% blue zone at the current moment. They haven't moved up whatsoever just yet. But let's see, maybe something comes from that. Maybe a late rotation into zone is not the worst thing that we can see coming in. But now, seeing a few more shots now also happening there from the players. In fact, that was the team, if I can get onto that of course being the players from Hawk. So a few shots that we actually saw in the kill feed coming in. Empire now putting a few shots over towards God Gaming as well. And the Dons now starting to just, prowl the area there, just trying to see if they can spot any teams. But of course now the team here from God actually putting in a beautiful few hits to their side as well.
Yeah, interesting to see how things unfold here on the map. I mean, you could see these vehicles driving past and sort of having free reign, and it's interesting to note that generally when you see vehicles being that powerful in terms of being able to just move around wherever you want to go, it's usually in this sort of tier of gameplay, because the higher you go, the more punishing it becomes to drive your vehicles out in the open. I mean, we've seen teams literally, I mean, they do not care. As soon as they see that vehicle, they are putting so many hits into it within a couple of seconds. I mean, you've just exploded and your whole team is sent packing back to the lobby. So yeah, it's just interesting to see that that sort of stuff happening here on this map.
Well, speaking about stuff, we got 14 teams and 46 players still alive. You can see we just had the team here from Uso and the players there from the Hawks just battling it out for this section of the map. But of course, now Skuku is on the roll once again, heading over towards that eastern side of the map. Right up ahead of them, we do have the Dons, as you can see on the screen. And while we might see a little bit of a fight also breaking out with the players from Mars, as they are also rotating up in the same direction. You can see them there on the mini-map, and the shots are actually starting to fly across. I think they actually might have punctured one of the tires. They did, and the hits are not coming in. Here they come. Mr. Boss now about to be in a little bit of trouble as the players there start just circling around like a I don't know what you call vultures, but whatever, vultures, there they are.
I'm sure it's a committee. I remember doing this. It was some other time we were casting. It's a committee of vultures. Yeah.
Yes, there we go. So the whole committee now just moving on in, and the Martian team over here making their push. As you can see, that zone now closing in slowly but surely. Once again, we've got a few seconds left. Let's see, will they be able to make it in towards zone safely? The only team yet to find their way into zone, of course, is the Martians. Everyone else actually quite split up between that northeastern side and the southwestern side of the zone.
Yeah, well, now we are heading in towards the pretty much what is the start of the end, basically. Yeah, I mean, we've gone through our first 4 zones, and this is where things start to get more tight because we still got 13 teams, we've got 43 players, you know, and this zone is going to get very, very small from here on out. We're going to start hitting our 800, our 400. Things are going to get very, very difficult to operate in here, and I mean, you can already see those shots just flying at the moment as teams start to try and get into the zone.
Yeah, no, the action is definitely going to start coming in. And you can see the Martians now just circling once again right here with the players from 6-9. Actually, 2 of them getting knocked out in the process. So far, it seems to be a pretty tough start for the players here. But of course, let's see, will they be able to continue that and keep putting in the hits? One of the 6-9 players, Mr. Unknown, of course, is off in the distance. But it doesn't mean we won't see the shots. There we go. Mr. Phantom there, just putting the hits in, and of course, off in the distance, you can see Nuclear Fallout as well as Cuckoo. They're not too far away. So hopefully, you know, once we have this next zone shift, which should happen in a few moments' time, the teams actually start going head to head. But of course, a beautiful play coming in, and what a save that was! Wow, Revolt. That was a beautiful play right there, just finishing it off, and of course, the players from Hawk down to their last player. So many hits now coming in as Uso and the team from Fear also now just battling it out. Everyone trying to find their way on up in towards that zone.
Yeah, and I mean, we literally saw an example right there of Mars utilizing that exact thing that we were talking about a bit earlier in terms of the vehicles. When I mentioned that vehicles are strong if you don't punish them, because, you know, like I said, the higher up you go, the more punishing it is to drive a vehicle. But Mars identified that fact. They realized that you can just drive without getting punished that much, and so instead of it being a you know, sort of debilitating thing to drive a vehicle, and now it's just this powerful thing, and they go over it, they ride over a whole bunch of people, they just you know, hit and running all across the map. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less from Mars.
No, you can see the team here from UAE now getting hit really hard. We got the team there from Empire, of course, just sitting off to the side, and the hits are now just flying up all over the place. Let's see, will the team here, Phantom, be able to hold on long enough? We got Fear, Mr. Hype being there, of course, making their way around slowly but surely, trying to hold on to the southern section of the zone. The players there from UAE, Phantom, actually taking quite a bit of a hit, and now we see several more teams actually rotating up in towards that northern side. The eastern side getting so congested. There's so many players sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much exactly the way I said it would happen. You know, things are getting tight now, and there are still plenty of teams and players left on the board, and that means it's just chaos, it's just fighting, Silent just putting in the hits. Everyone is just getting taken out a bit by bit. Silent, of course, playing around this artillery cannon here, just making good work of pretty much everyone in the surrounding area. Now, Akib going to be putting some hits in there for Shuku. They're just holding up here, trying to put the hits in before they have to make those rotates, because, of course, that zone is going to be hot on their heels in no time. They don't have much time left to run away from it. Now here comes Akib, still trying to put the hits in, just absolutely advancing without fear, because, of course, the rest of his team is there to just support him. Yeah,
and of course we've seen some pretty good plays coming in across the board, but let's see whether or not they'll be able to continue this momentum. Beautiful play that we had there from Silent. That is where I would have said, you know, silent but deadly, which he was. But of course now this blue zone is closing in. The players there on that edge of the zone, God Gaming just trying to cram themselves in Skuku also now also just trying to rush in. And we're seeing the teams actually splitting up quite a bit. Up in the most northern part of the zone, we've got the players there from the Testo gang right alongside the Martians. And of course, here we've got the players from God Gaming right alongside the players there from Skuku. And then over on that western side of the map, we've got the players from Fear and Empire just picking off shots in every direction they can.
Oh, well, we'll have a look and see if these Martians here can hold on, because right now, of course, just a couple of reses need to come through. Phantom tossing a couple of support grenades, making sure no one's pushing up, which they aren't. So they should be able to get their player back up and maybe be a little bit more impactful here on their side. But they've got some players to worry about. We'll see if they can pick them off here.
So let's see if yeah, because I mean, Testo gang, as you can see, we got Boat and Hanchovic just right in front of us here. The players there from Mars now getting their rotation sorted. They're heading on off in towards that zone, taking an approach over towards that eastern side. But as you can see, we've got so many teams just sitting on that eastern edge. So it's going to be a pretty tough entry into the zone. And I think the only team we have really completely in zone is the players from Empire. So, you know, quite a bit of a challenging last few zones that we are seeing here.
Yeah, and definitely we needed to see something like this to start, you know, culling the masses, and that's exactly what's been happening. Those teams have been dropping out. We're left with 5 teams remaining here in what could potentially be our final, or at least second last zone. Moving up here, these teams pretty much just need to take a couple of steps to cross the line, so they should be fine. It's mostly just a matter of who's going to be able to win the fights to keep us, you know, a hold on that real estate, keep hold of the area to go in to the final one, because obviously only one team can take the chicken. But I mean, these teams should be sitting pretty happily up here. They just want to fight for those positions and see who can make it up to the top. So let's have a look and see if it's going to be the Martians here, if something else might happen. There goes Hunchovic, so that's a good start. Low ping, or high ping should I say, takes out Dixon, and down goes Boat. So we're already seeing the fight start to break out.
Yeah, this was definitely a very tricky entry for the players here from God Gaming, because they got so many players just waiting on the edge, but the nades are still just flying in from all sides. Beautiful play coming in there from the Martians. They are really capitalizing on the height advantage they've got. In fact, you can see them now just putting the hits in all directions. Oh man, still sitting with 3 players moving up, but of course the team from Empire is still sitting on a full squad. So they've had a pretty good approach. So far, they're also sitting on 5 kills, which is not bad for this first round. But of course, now Silent moves up, gets taken down. 3 teams remaining. It is Fear, it is Empire, and of course, the Martians. So let's see how these teams are going to go head-to-head, waiting to see which way this final zone is going to move. Ooh, but the hits are just flying in towards the Martians. Such a tough position to be in. Lens and Deco right there. The last 2 potential players for the Fear team, unless, of course, they can get those raises in, which might happen, because Deku is right there with Valeria. And, of course, we're seeing Lens right there with Hyping. And the Martians also aren't giving up just yet. Capcan now being the last hope for his team here.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if we saw Martians versus Empire finish here, but that could be decided if Fear decides to push up here, and they do. That's the perfect time to push. The Martians pushing their luck just a little bit now. They're going to pay for it. Only 1 left, and down they go. Mars not going to be the ones to fight it out. Martians get sent back, so it is actually going to be Empire that remains, which is definitely not surprising. But, well, Fear won the fight, so it's going to be Fear versus the Empire. We'll see who's going to come out on top of this one. Fear already looking hungry for the kills, and actually going to be starting things off immediately.
Yeah, no, that is a super aggressive push right out the gate there. Pushing up in towards Empire, putting so many hits in. Of course, Spades now going down. So they only have 2 players left, Trip and Uneven. So let's see, well, make that 1. Trip now is the last hopeful for the Empire team. Let's see, will he be able to hold on long enough to get the clutch for the team? Because Fear is looking pretty good, coming in with 3 players into this last zone, up against only 1 player there. But of course, Hyping now sending that nade off right over towards Trip. It comes in and it does the job. Down they go. And of course, the players from Fear clutching that chicken, coming in with a beautiful play. 17 kills. Wow. Empire finishing in 2nd place there with their 6 kills. We got the Mars team, of course, finishing up with another 9 kills in 3rd place. We got the team from God Gaming in 4th place with 7 kills. The team there from Tesla Gang in 5th place with 1 kill. We got UAE in 6th place. We got the players from Skuku finishing in 7th place with 2. The Dons in 8th place. We got the team from No Fear in 9th place. Then, of course, the Hawks in 10th. Then moving along, we've got the players from USO with 2 kills sitting in 11th place. The Elite Newbies finishing their play off in, 12th place. Of course, got the players there from 6ix9ine finishing up in 13th place. We got the Vikings in 14th. And then we have our last few players right there finishing up in 15th place. I'm just trying to see that, of course, being the players from Universe. So there we have it. That is our standings for this first match for this lobby. And of course, we have 3 other lobbies also happening at the same time. So I'm quite curious to see which teams will be making it on into that final round, our final best of 3.
Yeah, that was certainly an interesting game there. We saw a couple of sort of things coming out there. A couple of I don't know what to call them actually. Sort of yeah, some standard things that we see coming out of this sort of tier of play. But it is interesting to see who we actually came out on top of that. Fear, I did not expect to come in with such a heavy amount of kills. So maybe we could keep an eye on them moving into the 3 final games that we have for today. We'll have a look and see. But yeah, I'm pretty keen to get into the finals to see who is going to be the top performers out of all of the teams coming out of the group stage here. Because as we mentioned, there's 4 groups, which means we're going to have a lot of teams who've worked hard to get into the finals today. So I'm interested to see how that goes.
Yeah. So we'll definitely see how that goes. But of course, without much further ado, let's head on into the break while we wait for the upcoming rounds to get underway. See you guys back in a bit. winning in some previous matches. And I'm quite keen to see which teams we'll see consistently performing, because we have some of the teams already on the leaderboard in the matches here today, and if they keep pushing and they keep playing the game that they are playing, they might they're definitely going to improve themselves. But also the aim is to move up higher on that leaderboard and kick out some of the teams that maybe just pitch up once in once a blue moon, maybe once a few weeks, because this is quite rewarding to the players that perform on a consistent basis, that come in week after week after week, performing, coming in, placing in the top 4, getting themselves the cash prize for the week. So, that is what kind of fuels the teams, and also helps to mold them, and it gives them that opportunity to keep on improving.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's just that consistency of performance. If you consistently get out of the group, consistently get into the finals, and you can consistently put the points on the board, that is what's going to take you to the top. And I mean, we saw that in the previous season. That's exactly what we saw. We saw some of those teams really putting in quite an impressive performance, and it all comes down to consistency. Every single time that you play, it's a case of, you don't need to be the absolute best all the time. It's impossible to be the best every single time. But if you're making sure that you can consistently perform, you get up into some of the top slots, you can get some kills on the board, and usually it's a combination of both. We say this every single time. It's always a combination of both. If you can put a few kills on the board, you can put yourself some decent placement points, and you can do that every single time, you're good to go. Because sure, it's great if you get a chicken. It's great if you get a whole bunch of kills. But if you do that one game and then the next game you get nothing, often that inconsistency doesn't get you where you want to be. The team that places first place in one game and then last place in the next, versus a team that places fifth every time. It's third every time. It's like, you just want that consistency. That's really what's gonna bring it for you.
Yeah, I mean, in one of the tournaments that we were casting recently, the team that actually won the tournament, they hadn't gotten a chicken in any of the matches, not one single chicken, but they won. Based on consistent play, consistent performance, and that is what at the end of the day put them into that position. So that is one thing that I'm really looking forward to seeing from the teams, is having that consistent performance coming in across the board. Regardless whether or not you get the chicken, like you mentioned, or if you place in 5th place, but if you consistently manage to get into these final few circles, keep on churning, just keep on pushing, it's going to pay off. And one thing that's also pretty awesome is that we're seeing the involvement of so many different territories throughout Africa coming in. So in the teams that we got playing in the final round for today, we've got Mauritian teams in here, we've got South African teams, we've got teams from Mozambique participating, we've got players from Nigeria participating. So one thing that I'm actually quite looking forward to is having more territories participating. I want to see the players from Ghana come in. I want to see the players from Somalia come in. I want to see as many teams from all the territories in the sub-Saharan Africa region, participating, because that is not only fantastic as a whole, but it also helps to put the whole region on the map. And that is essentially what we are trying to do, what we are fighting for.
Yeah. And not only that, it also opens up the pool of players. And it really is the best sort of space to grow as not only a team but also individually. It's like, the more people that you play against, the more teams that you play against, the more different varieties and types of teams you play against, the better you can become. You could start to really adapt and understand and work some strats out. I mean, it's been pretty much a staple of esports since esports was a thing, that each region very often has their own sort of style. They come in with different things. Some of them invent their own metas and all of that. And that's actually very, very interesting. It's something that I personally am actually quite interested in as well. But ultimately what that means is that you could end up playing against somebody who plays maybe a little bit differently to what you're used to. And that's an opportunity to maybe do a bit of learning and understand and, sort of grow as a team and get better. And all of that ultimately leads to, getting the whole scene as a whole, the quality just getting better and better and better. And that's exactly what we want. That is exactly what we're waiting for. It's what we've been seeing this whole time. I mean, you know, from the beginning when these seasons started in the original Inkosi and Umzansi leagues, we saw amazing improvement. I mean, from the beginning to the end of that season was just insane improvement and growth. And the more teams that we get signed up, the better, because that is just going to increase the standard more and more and more. And, you know, right now, we're pretty much in the frying pan here. You know, this is where we're making things, we're heating things up, right? Things are getting heated up to really see who's going to perform the best, who's going to be the teams that are sort of worthy, I guess you could say, to move on and actually, you know, compete up with the best that the region has to offer, you know. And as you say, the more teams that we get from all across the region, the better, because then, you know, we just have that representation. We've got maybe some potentially undiscovered talent just popping up, and yeah, that's always great to see.
Yeah. So if you watching at home know of any regions that you don't see represented on the board here, be sure to share the stream with them. Share all the info you can about the Inkosi Super Cup. Get them involved so we can get this out across Africa and get as many territories involved in this, because as you were saying, you know, it keeps on bringing in the new talent. It keeps things fresh, keeps changing it up. And, you know, as you said, the teams all have different, or the regions all have different ways of playing the game. So, you know, if you want to be the best, play against as many different people as you can. Because if you are able to adapt to so many different styles of playing, I mean, that just puts you in an absolutely fantastic position, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the current moment, like I said, you know, we've got Nigeria playing, we've got Mauritius playing, we've got Zambia playing, we've got Kenya, we've got Zimbabwe, just to name a few, you know? So we want to get Ghana in, we want to get Somalia in, we want to get, I mean, everyone and anyone we can get. I mean, I know there's more countries, I'm just blanking out at the moment. That's why I'm kind of just stuck to those ones. But those are the current countries that we are seeing performing, you know? We know that there's a scene in Ghana. I mean, it'd be amazing to have them come in and play on the stage. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Just get as many players and teams in as possible so we can really get the grind going. Just absolutely throw it into the mix to see who's going to come out. And well, the more seasons happen, the better, because obviously this is a repetitive thing. You know, it's a seasonal thing. It happens on a cycle, and you know, it just gets better and better and better. There's ain't no stopping the train once it started, and well, it has started. And hopefully, speaking of started, we can get into the match and get that started, because I would very much like to see this best of 3 starting to happen here with our top teams that made it out of the group stages here, battling it out over these 3 Erangel maps to see who's going to be walking away with those top spots. And well, after that, happens all over again next week.
Yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing whether or not the Fear team will be able to perform as they did in this previous match. You know, they finished that one off with 17 kills. That is a pretty decent kill count to have, you know. So let's see, maybe they can continue with that momentum, push it through into this one as well. Because if we can have more of that happening across the board, you know, that would be absolutely fantastic. And of course, you know, Fear is one of the Nigerian teams, you know, so we gotta keep on adding in the flags, you know, saying like, you know, we've got some Nigerians busy kicking butt. Habibi being from Mauritius, you know, so and a lot of people think that South African teams are the ones that are dominating. It's not necessarily the case. There's so many teams from across the region that are just stepping it up, putting those hits in, putting the works in, and just, you know, kicking butt as far as they go, which is absolutely fantastic. And that is what we want to see. We want to see more of that, you know, as we move through that. And of course, you know, even if you look at Umzansi, you know, we have more top teams from other countries also participating in that as well. You know, so what more could you want? So Umzansi is, you know, our highest tier performing teams that we currently have, because, you know, they've all started in Inkosi.
Yeah.
They've all passed through here. They've all participated, you know, battle it out against each other to earn those spots in Umzansi. And we've seen it is pretty fierce competition. It's absolutely fantastic stuff.
Yeah, absolutely is. Yeah, fierce competition indeed. And that's exactly what we want. But I mean, the greatest part about that is we're talking, you know, teams and players from a bunch of different regions. But we've also we've also, which is probably the coolest thing, is we've got a bunch of a bunch of all-female teams as well, like some serious girl power coming up through here, just kicking butt all through the leagues as well. I want to see a whole lot more of that. I mean, we want to see regions get in here. We want to see everyone get in here. If you're playing this game, just jump on in. We want to see you all coming up here if you've got a team. All that stuff up. That's why we've got the Inkosi registrations here. That's why every single time you should just sign yourself up, because you pretty much got nothing to lose, really. And this, it's just, you got everything to gain here. There's prizes, there's potential. Everything's happening right here. Inkosi Umzansi, make sure to hit up all the Nodwin socials as well. It's where everything is going to happen. That's where you're going to keep up to date with all that fun stuff. But finally, we have got a match going, and we've got a bit of an interesting flight path going off there towards the east, but nothing too crazy. At least teams should be able to access all their favorite spots, and now you will get you'll get some of your answers. You'll see if some of your teams that you're looking at will be able to make it up there.
Yeah, and you forgot the most important part is that we've got the registration links in the description. Yes. Yeah, well, it's supposed to be in the description. Let's say it is there because it's there. I'm not gonna look, but let's say it is. Let's just keep the confidence going, It's like, yes. Be sure to register, come in, participate. And of course, if you're looking to make your team more competitive, if you want to get into the competitive scene, this is the perfect place to do it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Because there's some tough competition right here already, So, if you want to go from playing against Tom and his friends, come in against, some pretty tough teams. Yeah, bring Tommy's friends with you. Then you can really battle out and have some money.
Have some money.
Yeah.
That's a cool DK quote I'm going to use.
You can have your cake and eat it, and share it even if you want, So
and we can even have this battle that could just happen right here as we've got two teams knocking on one another's doors.
Yeah, one of them that's doing the knocking there is Gate Gaming, and the other team, of course, as we saw in the previous round, is God Gaming. So 2 GGs right here.
Yeah,
Gate
GG
Gaming
and
God Gaming. So let's see how this one goes. Let's see who will get God and who won't get God.
All right then. Well,
Emphasis on the T that I added in there. Just to make 100% sure it doesn't sound too weird. The shots are already heading off. Down goes Skulder. Daz also now getting knocked and finished by Dixon. Now we got a Headhunter and Zayla, I guess. Because I can't do the click for the X. So let's just say Zayla. There we go.
Yeah. Xylo or whatever.
Yeah, that one. He's a Zayler. So yeah, it's one of those strange sailors.
Yeah. Sailing on a xylophone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, but we also have a fairly interesting spread. I mean, so many teams earning some of those non-redeemable battery points at the current moment.
Yeah, that is definitely something that we haven't seen all too often. There's just a ton of teams sitting down in that military island, which is very interesting, especially considering the zone has actually gone down in that direction as well, at least just a little bit. Of course, a couple of players, Xylo there, making a dash for it and not going to get taken down just yet. But... well, up come the rest of the team. Dixon Jelly gonna potentially... actually, I shouldn't say that too fast in quick succession, but yeah, they're gonna be moving up, and let's see if they can get the shots. The shotgun's trying to be touted here, but very little range is gonna make it quite difficult to make that happen. But they haven't really had a chance to really loot themselves up, so they've just got to use whatever they've got.
Ooh. Look at this shot. Now. No, look at right behind them. We've got the players from Destiny just sneaking up. So they're getting caught in a really tough sandwich there. Ooh, the hacker gets hit.
That was a good shot.
Yeah, so that was a very, very interesting push. But of course now the players here doing a fantastic job just putting the hits in. This, of course, being the players here from God Gaming, taking out the team from Get Gaming. So GG, well done. But of course, up comes the players. Also now slowly but surely just creeping in. Literally, you can see Mysterio there. He is just creeping in there as if it was Destiny.
Okay. Right. Well, we've got Mysterio moving up now. He's pretty much alone at this stage. He's the only one who's pushed up so far, at least. And, well, might just be able to make something happen. We'll see. Silent Looking for it, just checking for the angles. Hasn't found anything just yet. Got some good cover, but we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. We've got a very interesting situation.
Ooh.
Mysterio now pushing straight up and, well, hasn't gone down. He's putting the hits in. This team's stacked up right inside this house. Might be in a bit of a trouble.
Well, that was actually a beautiful strat coming in there from Mysterio. Just sneaking in. Oh, and just rips it up. Sends the whole team from God Gaming right back into the lobby. I mean, beautifully done there by Destiny. I told you it was Destiny. So well done, well played. And of course, now quite curious to see whether or not the zone is going to keep on shifting down towards that southern side. Because at the current moment, the teams are quite spread out across the map, as you can see. But of course, down in the south there, we still have 4 teams. Actually, 5 teams on that Sosnovka military island.
Yeah, that's definitely not something we see all too often, but it's quite nice to see nonetheless. You know, some good space being occupied in a space that we don't often see that occupied. And the fact is, it's also inside the zone at present, which means that there are no quick rotations out of there that need to be forced or anything like that. So these teams can actually sit quite comfortably here on the island and potentially fight amongst themselves. And then, you know, assess the situation. Because, of course, once that zone moves up once again, we'll have to see if they will have to move once again. But hopefully we see the zone shift south so that it stays on the island. Because I love island finishes.
Yeah, then they can definitely kick it island style. So we'll see how this one progresses. Of course, Narco's just patiently waiting up in the bushes there. So this is almost an ambush. Kind of, but not really just yet. You can see the players just off in the distance there. That, of course, being the team from Force 4. So that is one of the Mauritian teams up ahead. And the players, as you can see on the screen, is also from Mauritius, the Black Clovers. There we go.
Nice.
You know, so a bit of a M&M. We went just from the double GG over to the M&M battle. So let's see how this one's going to go. I know it's cringe. You don't have to tell me. I can hear it in my own head after it leaves my mouth.
Well, at least no one has to tell you. At least, yeah.
Yeah, I'm well aware of it. But of course, now the Black Clovers, they've actually rotated out and left Narcos all the way in that military base. So that's quite an interesting strat, though, that they are applying here. You know, 3 players move up, leave the other one all the way behind. I don't know if he's a lookout or if he just forgot to get into the vehicle. Let's say he's a lookout. That sounds, you know, sounds more convincing. Let's go with that.
A lookout that you leave behind instead of sending out.
Maybe they're just reversing the strat.
Yeah.
You know,
of
just
course.
mixing things up. You know, because you never know. It's always interesting to see, you know, how the teams approach the different things. And of course, we've got the players here from Makatsuki making their way around, keeping a very watchful eye. But as you can see, just off in the distance there, we got the team from Phoenix also just lying in wait. That, of course, being Phoenix Uprising. So let's see, will they cause any uprisings here? Or are they just going to play a bit of a passive match?
What's the opposite of uprising?
I don't know. Passive?
Down sitting?
Maybe. I don't know. Downscaling? Downsizing? Leaving the lobby? I don't know. Something.
Well,
we're trying to speak in PUBG terms, you know?
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, then we would be down crouching or, you know, down proning maybe.
Well, let's see. Will Bumblebee give us any sweet action there? Just patiently waiting. A Hellfire, of course, now risking it all there. No biscuits whatsoever, but Cloud slowly but surely closing in. We got Zetsu already having rotated up, and the remainder of the squad actually now moving up as well. So, ooh, the heads are starting to fly over towards Hellfire, like Hellfire. Not yet. I would love to see that, though.
Yeah, would be cool.
No choppers in this match, unfortunately.
Yeah, feels bad, man. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Right now, we've got the zone that has shifted, and actually, it's in a pretty decent spot. So it's off to the east there, but it's also right on top of that eastern bridge. And if we see an eastern bridge zone finish, it will be something we've seen before, but it always, every single time it ends here, it is always a crazy one. There's always just, you know, crazy stuff that happens here. The teams find themselves in very interesting situations, and we've already got like 4 teams up in that northern bridge position. So I mean,
yeah,
we've already got a stack right up there, and I mean, this it doesn't matter what's about to happen. Even if the zone goes north, we're definitely about to see some very interesting things happening. But I just sort of want to see it happen a little bit quicker.
But speaking of quicker, I mean, we see the team there from the Rebels also. They are only now rotating out of North George. You know, we almost in our third zone. So, you know, a little bit of a quicker rotation there would be pretty ideal for them as well. And the team there also then from Ultra 6, they're making their way in. They're on the top portion of that leaderboard. So let's see, are they going to continue with a bit of a roll? Destiny also now fairly close to them. And of course, Akatsuki here still facing off with the players there from Phoenix. Azar, he looks a bit tired though. I think the heat's getting to him.
Yeah. I can definitely feel that. You know, I think we're in a similar boat in that particular regard. But here we go. Some shots now coming in from Black Clover, looking to just wipe out the players straight off the board. These guys just looking for those kills, and they're finding it so far, which is pretty good to see. And actually, we're even going to have a look at watch some fists flying, a bit of Fight Club action going on in here.
Yes, sir. That's always what you want to see in a PUBG fight. Some fight club. Fight club.
Yeah,
there we go. Thanks, DK, for saving me. You're welcome. All right, but there we go. Everyone, sorry, I was talking to myself out loud. Everyone now making their way on up in towards that zone, bit by bit, heading up. And now we're actually seeing this western side of the map actually being quite contested with players. So many teams moving in from that western side.
Yeah, that's what happens when the rotations come in late from all directions. It's going to be just slotting them in, funneling them in from the same side, which hopefully leads to quite a bit of fighting, which definitely seems to be the case, and that blue zone is moving its way on up. And we've got Your Killer is in Fear, actually, just towards Farm as well. Of course, Akatsuki and Phoenix sitting up in there. So lots of potential fights that are about to happen, and depending on where the zone goes as well, we could see some crazy stuff start to happen.
Yeah. So as you can see, we got a few teams still stuck in that blue zone, that of course being the Testo gang and then the Rebels, that are slowly but surely all now heading on towards that zone. So let's see. Well, there we have it. The zone shifting up, surprisingly not heading over towards the bridge, which we were anticipating. You can see a lot of the teams also moving up into the same positions. They're also anticipating the zone shifting up into that region. But of course, it's always good when things keep on being a surprise. It's never as you assume it would be. And of course, we're seeing so many teams actually now starting to get quite close and starting to take a few of these confrontations.
Yeah, two interesting things here. I mean, the first one is that for some reason, we often see these teams start to stack up against the cliff face and take fights from them. It's potentially maybe to eliminate, a 180-degree angle behind them where they don't have to worry about shots. But I mean, we see this quite often, and the players just sort of fall down the cliff, and as you can see, that's exactly what's happened. And Narcos taking a little bit of advantage of that situation, putting some hits across. And I mean, as you lose players, it just becomes more and more difficult to fight back, and you can see that is exactly what's happening here for a lot of the teams. And yeah, I mean, that's that. The second thing that I noticed is that, you're expecting that southern shift down towards the bridge, because that's where the zone very often goes. But the fact of the matter is, it's switched up here. It's a little bit more safe, so the teams don't have to do anything too crazy to move up in there. Most of the teams are already in the zone. But now that it's packed, we're going to see some serious fights.
Well, we got the team here from Force 4 now just rushing into Your Killer Is. So many hits just flying in from all directions, and of course doing quite a bit of damage. Players there from Your Killer Is still have a few numbers on the board. They still have got 2 players left. So let's see whether or not they'll be able to maybe come in with a bit of a sneak attack there. They do have the hill here with a slight bit of an advantage, but I think they're going to start rotating out. And of course, the players there from Force 4, they've spotted the smokes. They are rushing in, and we see those hits now starting to come in as well. Oh, lovely. Force 4 just blowing that vehicle up quite forcefully. Well done, well played. That was fantastic. I love that bit. And then, of course, now we are left with 14 teams, 54 players. And we're seeing quite a few teams now, starting to clump up once again.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be the case. And once again, I mean, this is just a sort of rinse and repeat from what I said previously, in that, in this sort of a sort of mid-tier clashing where we see the teams fighting it up to get to the top. We often see the late rotations or the slower play in the beginning cause the situations that we have very often here, where we've just got a ton of teams really close, and as we head up into the final, few zones, we still have so many teams left that things really start to, just sort of, I don't know, just explode, in all directions. We see tons of shots just flying off everywhere. And yeah, I mean, it always makes for quite a good bit of entertainment. So we'll see if that's the case. Yeah, I mean, we still have 14 teams, 54 players left, and we're already 4 zones deep now. So we're moving from that mid to late game at the moment.
Yeah, and we see quite a bit of action now brewing in that northeastern side of the zone. As you can see, you got 3 teams very close, just holding on in the short side of the zone there. But of course, looking at this western edge, so many teams quite spread out there. But of course, up comes the players here from, well, Sabaweli Clan and Phoenix. We got Phoenix down below Hellfire now, just moving into the underground. And of course, that blue zone is going to start closing in just a few seconds. But of course, now Empire also taking a few engagements there with the SAR Rebels. Let's see, are they going to try and push in towards Hellfire here and get that hit? He might be the last player for the team, in fact. Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Hellfire is the last hope for the Phoenix team.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And he might just go down here unless he can find these shots, and he will find one, but eventually goes down super quick. And yeah, I mean, that's just what happens when you're the final player left on the team. Might have turned around and just retreated down the tunnels, but he decides to go for some shots instead, only finds one. But yeah, well, out he goes, and now we have 13 teams. We've got 48 players. I mean, now we're heading in towards the zone where I think it's about 800 meters. So we're already in our 800 meter zone. We've still got 13 teams and 48 players left, and things are getting just absolutely super tight here. I mean, you can see towards the southwest of the map, we've just got so many teams just cram-packed into this tiny amount of real estate. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw quite a few teams heading back to that lobby very, very soon.
Yeah, so let's see how this goes, because the teams are really... The heat is turning up, and this is the first match only, so I'm hoping that it continues as we move on into the next few zones, because you can see a lot of teams very, very close together, a lot of potential, fights yet to break out between them. So I'm curious to see how the teams are going to take these engagements. Are they going to push up aggressively, or are they going to try and avoid the fights for as long as they possibly can?
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the theme that we've been seeing from these players. They like to delay the fights as long as possible and try to take them, as further back as possible. But it's not going to work forever. They're going to have to finally take those fights. And you can see that's exactly what's happening. They can't sit so close together forever. And now the shots are finally coming through. Akatsuki trying to put them in F4, just feeling the pain at the moment. And that's the case for quite a number of these teams. As I said, they're sitting so close here that the third-party shots can come in as well. And it's just hit after hit at the moment.
Yeah, so let's see. Oh, we got some nades coming in. Force 4 in a little bit of trouble. Oh, but Fear still pushing up once again. This is what we want to see. We want to see whether or not Fear can continue that momentum. Doing quite a bit of damage here to Akatsuki, and of course, sending them back into the lobby. 11 teams now remaining. And Fear once again stepping up and actually delivering quite a bit in this match.
Yeah. We'll see at the moment. Fear, as you mentioned, you said they were a team that you were looking at, and so far, I mean, they came in with quite a bang out of that group stage with quite a few kills, but now, let's see if they can continue that trend at the moment. As the numbers are dropping, they're looking to get into the top teams, the top 10 remaining for the match. We've got 11 teams at the moment, so one more, and they will get sent straight on back, and we'll have a look. Fear might just be able to put in a few more hits. They've got a pretty decent position up here on the top of the hill. F4 have a little bit of a disadvantage when it comes to angles, so they have to be careful here. The surrounding teams also need to make their way off into that lobby, or sorry, into the zone. Well, they're going to have to make their way off into the lobby as well, because, of course, that's just how the game works. But yeah, they will have to make their way into that zone as well.
I mean, we got 11 teams trying to cram into a zone that is only 400 meters across. There's definitely no chance that everyone's going to be able to make it in successfully. But of course, we got the players from Rain sitting on this western side. You can see the team from Fear just up ahead of them. Force 4 also right here. We got a few nades now coming in the kill feed there as well, as the players from, well, the Martians and the SAR Rebels are now going head-to-head over towards that northeastern side. So, well, the teams are slowly but surely deciding to rather rotate up instead of, sticking around here trying to battle it out, which will become the blue zone very, very shortly.
certainly will. Now there's shots from Yeku coming in as the train moves through the blue zone. Boat goes straight down. He's been sunk. Now Fear trying to put the hits in. F4 trying to do the same, but they're fighting from a difficult position, trying to push up over the ridge. Yaju going to find the hit in towards Daimos. Down he goes. So slowly but surely, those numbers are dropping. We finally found ourselves with our top 10 teams. We've got 30 players, so a nice round number sitting up there. And actually, Argus going to be yeeting himself off into the oblivion. And now we're going to see that zone get ever smaller. The teams moving in. Things are clumping up. Fear sitting in a big smoke circle, and some serious shots and explosions coming through as well.
Yeah, we can see the players from Empire, of course, also pushing up quite aggressively in the kill feed. See so many hits coming in, but of course now up comes the players here from the Black Clovers, battling it out with Fear. Fear still looking good. All 4 players still alive. I mean, that is a really good thing coming in. You can see Empire also just off in distance, also still have all 4 players. We've got Dopey hiding in the sniper tower there. So far, managing to evade the final few hits that would send him off into that lobby is, of course, the last remaining player for his team. But Fear still just trying to find the angle here on the Black Clovers. Ooh, we got a nade rolling in as well. Mysterio. Oh, gets taken out. Empire finishes off the players there from Destiny. Wow.
Nice.
But this is not done yet. The Black Clovers are still in play. They've actually fallen back a little bit. And as you can see, they are now deciding... Yeah, they're deciding to rotate on up. Well, that was one of the players. So he might have opened the gate there for Titan to try and slowly but surely maybe creep up on their position. I think that was more of a distraction. But of course, now Titan still needs to get back to his teammates. As you can see, Mars and Jinx also battling it out right here in the northern side. So, yeah, there's a lot of points of interest on this map where the teams are actually putting those hits into each other. 7 teams now remaining, 19 players still alive. So let's see how this one goes.
Yeah, I fully expect to see Dopey go down here. He's basically got nowhere to run, and he's been watched from every single angle possible. And, well, there comes the grins, there come the shots, and he should be going out momentarily. There it is, explosion, slam, dunk. Goodbye, sir. And out he goes. We're left with 6 teams now. We only have 1 more survivor. The rest of the team is looking pretty stacked at the moment. The shots coming in from Black Clover, who made a nice early rotate in towards the zone. The Martians taking quite a bit of damage there. And I'm interested to see how Fear and Empire actually move forward with this one, because Fear, of course, they're really picking up the pace there as per usual. They've got a pretty decent number of kills now moving into this one, but the zone is already looking pretty full. So they're going to have to fight their way on in, which might be interesting because, of course, Black Clover is right ahead of them.
Yeah, and of course, you know, it's going to be a pretty tough one. Black Clover still sitting on all 4 their players there. Empire also sitting on all 4 still, but Valeria now getting caught there as Uneven starts pushing in. Lens just trying to hold up in that smoke. Oh, it's not good enough. Gets found out. Gets the shot right in. And of course, well, Fear, I think, might now be down to their last player. That, of course, being Gecko right off in the distance there. So went from a pretty impressive play in that first round into a little bit more of a challenging one in this one. So we got 5 teams remaining. Mars down to their last players. We got the players from the Rebels, of course. You can see just off in the distance there. Then we had Deco now just holding up. The Black Clovers are looking really good. Already sitting on 11 kills so far. Trip now getting knocked out there as well. The hits now flying up towards Uneven. Empire sitting on 7 kills. So we're seeing these teams that come into the top 5 here actually coming in with a pretty impressive kill count.
Yeah, it certainly is. And well, there goes Deku. He gets taken straight out. So Fear is now off the board to go out in 5th. And we have our top 4 teams now slowly shaving things down bit by bit. Revolt, the last player for the Martians there. Uneven and Shroud, the last 2 for Empire there. And of course, the shot's not coming out from Revolt. He's actually going to be landing some. He's just going to get aggressive, go for the kills, and see how many he can pick up from his position to see if he can survive any longer. No, out he goes, and no longer will he be able to put those shots in. Back to the lobby he goes, and there it is. Top 3. It's Empire, it's Black Clover, and it's SAR. And, well, now we're about to see who's going to come out with that chicken. Right now, Black Clover, they're sitting on a full squad.
Yeah, no, they're looking really good. And, of course, the players coming in from the Rebels sitting on 3 players. And then we got Uneven now. Not Uneven, Empire, sorry, on their last play. That was being Shroud, but Zen getting hit from the side. There we go. The hits are now starting to fly in, and see whether or not the Rebels will be able to push on in and get the clutch. They are in a pretty good position. They've done quite a bit of damage to the players there from the Black Clovers. And of course, you know, they could really capitalize on that, move in with the aggression and just completely, you know, obliterate the players there from Black Clover. So let's see, will they apply that, or are they going to try and maybe, I don't know, apply a different strat?
We are about to find out. Of course, Shroud, the last remaining player there for Empire. We've got a full stack for Black Clover. And, well, SAR, they could put up a bit of a fight here. We'll see. They're very much pinned down behind this box. It's going to be difficult. Black Clover have a pretty decent position, but Shroud is moving up. He's trying to get aggressive here, but takes a lot of shots. He gets taken down immediately, very, very quickly. And, well, that is going to be the end of that. It's the top two teams. It's Black Clover and SAR now fighting it out. The shots flying back and forth. Mr. Raji trying to put them in. He does find a couple. Looking to get aggressive here. Let's see if he can make it happen.
Well, it is going to be a pretty tough one. Let's see. Up they come. The numbers looking good. Fortunately for them, the Black Clovers already have taken a little bit of damage. And, the process. There we go. One left. Oh, they're trying to get that res. Let's see. Will they be able to get it? The nade's not coming up. Not really finding the place just yet. So we got Dagger and Titan Aura. There we go. Right, so they're back up to 3 players now. Full squad. 1 down. Oh, 2 down. 1 more to go. Zeno is the only one standing in their way. Will they be able to find the hits? Oh, and they do. The Rebels come in with the chicken. They're beautifully done, finishing off with 10 kills. The Black Clovers finishing their play off with 16 kills. We got Empire coming in 3rd place with 7 kills. We got Mars finishing in 4th with 2 kills. Fear only managing 5th place for this one and 7 kills. I mean, so a pretty impressive kill count that we see in these top 5 teams. You know, they've really stepped it up and they've really played a good game. So now we're just waiting to see whether or not that will continue into the next phase as we move into the next 2 games. But of course, you know, yeah, we'll see once we get there. We got the players here from Jinx sitting in 6th place with 1 kill. We've got the team from Ultra 6 finishing in 7th place with 2 kills. Then, of course, we got Rain from Hell finishing off in 8th place. We got the players from Destiny finishing up in 9th place with 5 kills. Force 4 finishing their play off on 7 kills in 10th place. Then we got the players here, Boat and Company. I can't recall the name off by heart, but whichever, there they are. Well done. They finished with 2. Epic Death getting those 2 kills. Then, of course, we got the players there from Akatsuki finishing off in 12th place. Sabaweli Clan in 13th. We got Phoenix finishing up in 14th place. We got the players from Your Killer Is in 15th place. The team there from I got it, RDX. I'm blanking out. Royal Demo X, my bad. There we go. Royal Demo X finishing up in 16th place. And then, of course, we've got the players there, Silent and Company. I recall the name. That is God Gaming. There we go. They finished in 17th. And then the players from Gate Gaming in 18th place. So, yeah, a very interesting match that we saw here. And well done to the teams placing in those top 5 spots. Really played a very interesting match. And, of course, you know, I'm looking to see whether or not that is going to be the case when we move into the 2nd and 3rd match, you know. Consistency, of course, being key. So let's see whether or not they'll be able to hold that consistency all the way through, keep that momentum going, because then we'll definitely start seeing a little bit of a change coming in on that leaderboard.
Yeah, it certainly will. It's good to see the kills really starting to come in for a lot of these teams. I was actually interested to see if Fear could make the same thing happen again, because they came out of the groups with quite a number. But we had a couple of other teams stepping it up as per usual, which is really good to see, you know, just putting those kills on in. And, of course, GG to SAR for taking out those chickens. And, of course, in the next 2 games, we're looking for that consistency, because that's what we were talking about. The consistency is really what ends up, you know, getting you the furthest. So we'll see if these maybe top 5 teams can remain in that position, or if somebody else is going to be stepping it up.
Yeah, well, speaking of consistency, let's get into our break while we head on up into that 2nd match. We'll be back with you guys in a few. Welcome back, guys. All right, so we're gonna jump straight into our second match of these three matches we've got in the finals, 3-1s. All right, but anyway, so yeah, the next match has already started. We're about to transition straight into that, and of course, get straight into the action. We see all the teams on the map, as you can see. Everyone slowly but surely starting to make their way down. 18 teams in the lobby, 71 players. Patchy,
Yeah.
any predictions?
Well, I mean, I was kind of on the edge of my seat just a little bit watching Fear in the previous game because you called them out. You said, I want to see how Fear does, and then I was almost getting to the point where it was like, how do you make these predictions? But they didn't make it up until the pole position there in the end. But I still think they could probably make it happen. They could probably end up at least top 3, maybe. So I'm keeping my eyes out to see if they can make that one happen. It was interesting to see that SAR actually managed to make it up into the chicken spot. That was something I didn't expect. I honestly expected. Who was the other team? Was it Empire? I honestly expected them to be able to win that one out, but interestingly enough, that didn't happen. So that's actually pretty nice. It's a good shift up of expectations. So I'm interested to see if Empire is going to maybe want a little bit of revenge there, or if SAR is going to continue their performance. Because like we said, we're looking for that consistency. So let's see if those teams can make it happen.
Yeah, well, I was speaking to SOR in the weekend. They said they're gonna bring the heat, bring the action, and well, they definitely delivered on that in the previous match. So let's see whether or not they can continue that momentum, take it into this one and the next. But of course, we see quite a few teams very, very close and clumped up right here, and of course, the players from Destiny already starting their push, heading right in towards the players here from God Gaming. So we're not gonna start this one off with a GG, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, this is actually a really interesting spot. So we saw Black Clover take quite a few fights down towards the military base there. And we actually see quite a number of teams off to the south of Pachinki towards the coastline also taking some fights. So, I mean, this is really good to at least start it off in terms of some quick fights, but it's quite a difficult position for a lot of these things to be in. Hack is actually getting pushed. At the moment, Yaju trying to fight back. He's going to find one. Holding up on the stairs here. So, yeah, the fights have already started.
Yeah, down they go. So the players there from Force 4 taking them out, sending the Black Clovers right into the lobby. The first team to be sent back in the second match. And of course, well, it is far from over. We see the team from Destiny. They're caught in a bit of an interesting position. So they've got a team on either side of them. And of course, jumping into Malta, we can see the players here from Your Killer is right there going head to head with the players. That, of course, being the team there from the Royal Demo X. Or RDX. Let's just go with RDX. It sounds much easier to say.
Yeah. We don't really know what a Royal Demo X is, or, why it's there. We're not too sure why it's Royal, what the X means, or, what they're demoing, but it's there. And, RDX are out here taking a bit of damage as well. Your Killer is just sitting there off in the distance, putting a couple of shots in. A few warnings, stay away from us shots. And, yeah, this zone is interesting. I think this zone is probably going to be the biggest causer of the fights here, because being down all the way in the southwest is pretty much away from the majority of teams. So all the rotations will start to come in from the sort of northeast side. So hopefully we'll start to see some fights as the rotations come through.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how these teams are going to be rotating up in this one, because this is, as you said, a very interesting flight path, a very interesting zone, because we had the flight path. There's quite a bit of a discrepancy between where the flight path went and where the zone landed, and it's always interesting to see because the games that result from that are always quite interesting. The teams now having to play the game in a slightly different way that they've been playing it in the previous few rounds.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go at the moment, because these teams do have to shift up into that zone. You're gonna have to make their way on, and I think that maybe we'll see actually a lot more teams heading out here this time around than we saw in the previous matches, simply because there's so many teams that are still outside the zone at the moment, and they're going to be moving in a similar direction. So what I'm hoping is that that's going to cause the teams to take fights early, which is actually what we want to see more often than not. Regardless of the situation, you want to see those fights happening a little bit earlier to make space. But I think now that the zone has more or less forced that to happen, hopefully that's exactly what we see coming out.
Yeah, because we got the blue zone already starting to close in, and this is the point where you want to see the teams already starting to get those rotations done. the blue zone's closing in, get your butt in the vehicle and off you go, head on up into zone, because it seems, it might not be the case, but it seems like the players here from Testo Gang are actually waiting for the players from Akatsuki, like they want to take the confrontation. But the wiser decision here would be to get into the vehicle and get into zone.
Yeah.
Because
or alternatively just take the fight and then leave.
Yeah, but like I don't know.
But
The blue zone is coming.
The
blue zone is coming. I mean, the best would be to get into zone, put yourself in a good position, because you're gonna not only be battling the opposing team, but you're gonna be battling the blue zone. Given the first blue zone doesn't do a lot of damage, but still, you are then at a slight disadvantage. So rather get into zone instead of, hanging around trying to, get as many potential shots in as you can. Rather set up that gatekeep in zone where you are safe for the next few moments, while the other teams actually need to try and rush in. So that, in my opinion, would be the better play here. Is rather get in the vehicle, get into zone, and then set up the ambush there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you take inspiration from what we usually see in a situation like this, that's exactly what happens. The teams will look out and see, okay, is the team that we know is in the same compound or very close, are they close enough? Are we in a good position to take them out? If yes, let's quickly take the fight, see if we can push them out early. If not, we need to get out of here. They get into the car, they move, because from what you can gather about this map, and obviously it's not immediately obvious now when you look at the map, but in the beginning, the majority of teams weren't in the zone because the flight path, as you said, the discrepancy was big. So the teams were all the way towards the east, the zone was in the west. So just by elimination, you can know that most likely the zone is going to be mostly empty. So you can actually rotate up in there as soon as possible, and you will most likely get the space that you want. In other words, you could potentially ride straight into the middle of the zone, occupy your favorite compound, and then be like, yeah, we're here. No one else is around us. We can loot up, get ourselves set up. Everything's great. And then only the teams will start to come in, and they'll come in our direction. And not only that, we're now sitting in the middle of the zone, which means we're also in a good position for when that zone moves up, because obviously being in the middle of the zone is advantageous in that regard. So, it offers a lot of benefits. So definitely I agree with you. The zone rotation should have been the first thing that is probably considered. Can we get into the zone quickly? If yes, let's do it. Get ourselves the best spot, because if we don't want to take the fight now, which is what these teams have seemed to start doing, they don't want to take the early fights. If that's the case, we'll then just get into the zone, get ourselves the better spot for the later fights.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with you on that. And of course, looking at where the zone is heading, there's several spots that teams can actually take up that would be quite advantageous. Because that particular section, especially in center zone, is quite open. It is quite exposed, so they could easily pick off any of the opposing teams as they rotate in. But we see the players here from Get Gaming now, they're holding up in school, hoping that someone rotates past them. So I don't know if I 100% agree with that one. It's not a bad position to be in, but from what we've seen with where the teams are rotating to, everyone's heading to that far eastern side of the map. There's a lot of teams now just cramming in on that eastern side. Sabueli being one of the teams coming in from that side. We've got Phoenix there with them as well as the team from Mars, and then also RDX and your killer is. So quite a big concentration of teams of this lobby rotating in from the eastern side. So, I mean, this is the point where I would have probably already started to rotate up once again, with that anticipation of the next zone shift.
Yeah,
I can understand the teams that we're currently seeing on the eastern side. They've only just come into zone because there was a little bit of a late rotation, which is fine. It can be forgiven. But of course, now you can see some of them already starting to push on up, not waiting till the zone runs, and forces them in once again. So now they are adapting. They're starting to move in, and we might see a few shots actually coming in there from between Mars and RDX.
Yeah, I must say it's definitely one of those things you want to try and get into the zone. If your strategy is we hope someone rotates past us, then it's definitely not going to be the best spot you could be in. Generally you want to put yourself in a position, especially if it's, for instance, the middle of the zone, where you could say almost guaranteed there's going to be a team in close proximity, right? So we don't have to hope that someone's going to be nearby. If we want the fight, we don't have to sit and wait. If we want to take the fight, we move into the position that we know there's going to be another team sitting close by, and then we just we take the fight there.
Yeah, and we've seen in previous leagues, of course, how much of an influence kills has on the placement. A lot of the teams come in with the approach of, I'm trying to place as high as I possibly can. without being too concerned of the kills. But if you get a decent kill count, it doesn't really matter where you place, because you still get those points regardless of your placement. Then placement is purely a bonus instead of being your primary focus.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what? Even with that said, because I agree with you on that, but with that said, most of the time, we anyway end up seeing that the teams that are able to go for those kills and put the kills on the board end up making it into a very good placement position as well.
Yeah, because they get into that momentum of pushing, wiping, continuing on, and that is a really good thing for a team to have, is that kind of mentality is, I move in, I clear out the compound, and I move on to the next one. That kind of develops that hunter team.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a few teams actually, catching up with that. They're like, okay, cool, maybe this is kind of the play style that we like, because it's quite advantageous for the teams. It really puts them apart from the competition. So I'm hoping to see that develop as we progress through our next 4 weeks. So we've now reached, pretty much the halfway point. This match is, essentially the halfway point.
Yeah.
And I'm looking to see how that evolves as we keep on moving forward, because we're seeing quite a bit of action, as the teams start battling it out. They spot a few players, they put the hits in, but you definitely want to see the aggression turned up. I don't know, maybe tenfold. Not careless aggression, but calculated aggression.
Yeah. I mean, that's generally what we see. And I mean, if you don't believe what we're saying, the best sort of example is probably the previous season, where we did see a lot of those teams actually stepping up in that manner, getting it to that sort of hunter mentality, and they made it up out of Inkosi. They're sitting in Umzansi and they're doing very, very well. Which I mean, that just has to speak far more than pretty much anything else. I definitely suggest that you go and watch those if you haven't missed those out. Very, very good. It's absolutely fantastic. So go and watch that. But for the moment, we're going to be watching Pyros put some hits in. Twin very much basically down and out. He's been abandoned by the rest of his team. SAR just getting the heck out of there. We're seeing actually the zone is sitting all the way towards the south. I mean, look at that. We're on the coast again, and this is probably one of the most interesting things in recent times that I've been witnessing is this clumping up against the coastline, playing up against the cliffs, and now the zone is playing into that as well. So this is going to be a very interesting one to watch.
Yeah, we see RDX, of course, now really getting challenged for this position. The players there from Sabaweli clan, of course, just stepping up, turning up the pressure, and of course landing some of those very well needed hits. Of course, now they only managed to get 1 kill out of that, but there are still quite a few players left on the map. But of course, now it is also heating up quite a bit, as you can see right here. The players there from Gate Gaming now just trying to push in towards the players there from Destiny. And of course now, well, they're not looking too great though. Destiny putting up a pretty good defense, putting them in some pretty good hits. And of course, you can see the players here from Gate Gaming getting taken down one by one. Xylan now, of course, being the last hope for, and up comes the team here from Destiny. Oh, just managing to get that hit in. That was a pretty good play, but of course, just to try and seal the deals, puts those finishing blows in. But up comes the nade right in the building. Oh, godless! That was a beautiful one. It would have been amazing if that one had, if Xyla had stayed in a little bit longer, just to welcome that nade in. Yeah, but pretty good reactions there by Xyla as well, managing to get out just in the nick of time. But of course, we see, the teams all now slowly but surely starting to trickle into the zone. We've got the players there from Rain from Hell actually moving into this region as well. So they're heading up, trying to get in towards center zone. We got Empire hot on their heels, a few shots coming in there. And Akatsuki, of course, also now starting to turn up their aggression, putting a few hits in. And that is what we want to see across the board is, that aggression getting turned up and up and up and up. And of course, that is obviously for the betterment of the teams.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's have a look and see how this aggression is going to get turned up, because right now we've got 16 teams, we've got 50 players, and we've got the zone, which is absolutely minuscule. Playing up against the coastline has made it that much more difficult because of a lot of the zone is then water, which is obviously not where you want to be, that you can't play out of there. You can't take the shots from while you're swimming. So it is definitely going to be quite difficult. We've got cars running rampant as well, just swapping players left and right. Shots coming out from that MG, just absolutely tearing shreds. And ooh, Katsuki not looking too good here.
Yeah, I mean, they've actually been hit pretty hard here by the Rebels, but of course, the remainder of the squad now about to join up here with Bravo. So let's see, you can see they're moving in on that mini map up in the top corner there. Slowly but surely, they're approaching, and of course, this might be enough time for the Rebels, of course, to get their numbers back to where they want them. You got Barky now moving up, trying to put that finishing hit in. Manages to find the hit on Bravo, but of course, now Cloud, as a Cloud does, just moves in from above. Gets
He's
those
got a good
beautiful
chance,
hits
yeah.
in. Yeah, no, this is a really good position to be in. You know, it's quite a tricky one for the Rebels to be fighting from. But of course, the same can be said there for Cloud. So let's see whether or not Zetsu and Cloud will be able to clutch this one out. Oh, so many potential hits. Oh, down goes Reki. Everything now pretty much riding on Mr. Raji. Let's see, will he be able to clutch this one out?
Oh, yeah. They have
Ooh.
absolutely capitalized right now. It's Mr. Raji. And if he can get this fight onto Zetsu, he might be able to do it, because then it would be, you know, a good shot. But if he resurrects Cloud, if he brings him back, then Mr. Raji's in a very, very bad spot. This grin could be big. If the grenade lands... Oh, I think it might have.
Oh, come on. Oh, it's so close. Oh,
that was close.
That Molly nearly fell right on top of him. But of course, beautifully played there by Mr. Raji. Now rotating out while the team is distracted. Fantastic capitalization right there. And of course, Phoenix now going head-to-head here with Ultra 6. The hits just flying in from both sides. The team's going head-to-head. Let's see who's going to catch this one out. Will it be Ultra 6 or will it be the players here from Phoenix? Ooh, Reki goes down. So many players now just coming to the zone. Oh! Oh, man.
What a set of trades that was.
Yeah.
It's just like peek out, take a hit, peek out, take a hit, peek out, take a hit.
That was beautifully done. Yeah, so well done there. And of course, you can see Mr. Raji now. He's rolling up right into the lobby. Oh, Empire. Just well, they also just capitalized on their position. So we are now left with 13 teams. Quite a bit of an interesting spot sitting over in that southeastern side of the zone. You know, so I'm curious to see what's going to be happening there. As you can see, the players, of course, here now making their way around this being Sabaweli. We got the players here from Force 4 just off in the distance over towards the southern side. We, in fact, see the players there from God Gaming as well as Jinx. So let's see, will Azriel be able to clutch this one out? Here's, of course, the last hope for his team here. Isunini now moving up to Shroud to get that res in. And once again, we see quite a big concentration of teams sitting on that western side of the zone.
Yeah, with how the zone is set up at the moment, we've got teams somewhat scattered just across the board. And very interesting position there. Jinx actually keeping Nemesis very much pushed down towards the pier, which could prove to be a bit of a difficult spot to play out of. And of course, as you know, Subwilly and F4 just very, very close to Azrael. Has to be careful. They are very much waiting for him to push out. So the rest of the teams moving on up, they should be pretty comfortable in the zone. But of course, once that blue zone starts to push up and gets a whole bunch smaller, we're going to be seeing that 400-meter zone. That's when things are going to get a little bit more spicy. We're going to see our teams dropping once again. We're at 12 teams at the moment. And, well, that number is going to get shaved down bit by bit until we're left with our final teams. And, of course, who is going to find that chicken as well.
And you can see Shroud now just searching, trying to see if he can spot Azrael. He might have an angle on him, just waiting on the edge of the wall. Azrael now, oh, quickly dropping down the smoke there. Oh, he's just hugging that fuel canister for some reason. I mean, that is a bit of a dangerous play. But, of course, now manages to utilize that cliff to try and escape. But, of course, Shroud expecting that in hot pursuit. Now, let's see, will he be able to find him and get those hits in? But they're also getting quite close to Jinx. Oh, there we go. Azrael putting the Uzi to some good use. Gets to knock in on Shroud. But, of course, now Shroud is not alone. He's got his teammate right there with him. Isuni trying it to move up, but of course now we're jumping over towards the players here from Gate Gaming, as you can see on that western side of the zone, very close to Destiny, and of course just towards their south we got one of the players there from Ultra 6 also now moving in. So let's see, will Isunini be able to get a successful res in? Azrael, oh, he's going to try and send that molly across. Not sure if it's going to find the spot though. Oh yeah, no, definitely not finding the spot. Oh, how's that play though, Hound? He sniffed that one out right there and put the hits in. I mean, that it was beautifully done. Wow, talk about a third party.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate series of events, but it happens. It does eventually come back to bite you when you're in tight situations. You have to make quick decisions, and well, oh, there you go. Another one goes. Nemesis going to be going down as he tries to push up along the coast. Jinx going to make their rotate nice and quick in towards the zone, so that's pretty good. And they're going to join up with the rest of the team sitting on towards the western side, so that's looking like quite the party at the moment. You can see Jinx is there, Rain from Hell is there, Ultra 6 is there, Destiny's there. GG is there, Empire, we've got your killer is Fear as well, just all sitting there in a nice big crescent along that western side, so definitely going to be seeing those fights start to happen.
We see quite a few hits now coming in towards Empire. Down they go. All right, so Jinx now trying to get some hits in towards Rain. Quite a few teams, once again, on this western side. For some reason, the teams like to frequent the western edge of zone. For reasons unbeknownst to me, but we'll find out, I guess, sooner or later why it is. But you can see the players there from Samaweli clan right there with the players from, well, who is that? Oh, well, there's no, oh, sorry, it's RDX. There we go. So RDX, of course, right there with them. And of course, now Jinx just trying to creep on up in towards the zone. The team there from Destiny also holding up a pretty good position. Rain also now stepping in, putting in a few shots. This is turning out to be quite an interesting zone.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that straight from the moment they headed straight down to the coast. It was just going to be very, very interesting here. Now we're battling along the beach. Rain from Hell is on your screen here trying to put the shots across. And you can see there's a number of teams surrounding them at the moment. Jinx is sitting there, Destiny is there, even AK from Ultra 6 is there, and GG moving just ahead. They're trying to put the cross zone kills on towards Fear. And of course, Fear doing the exact same, trying to put the hits in. But there comes the zone. The rotation is towards the west, which is going to mean that the likes of Fear, RDX, and Subway are going to have to move on in. So those rotations are going to be absolutely deadly. And, well, good luck to those teams to try and make it on in there, because there's like 3 of them just sitting and waiting for the moment to strike.
Yeah, and of course, you know, we could still see a bit of a clutch play coming in there from AK, you know, from the Ultra 16. He's right there, very close to the edge. So many teams in his surrounding area there, and of course, Jinx and Rain still battling it out. So I'm curious to see how they're going to choose to push up in towards the zone, because you're seeing a lot of hits now coming in. Warlord, oh, just going straight onto onto the edge of that cliff and just trying to put a few hits in the course. Of course, getting found out. Oh, top deck. Oh, that's a tough one to be in right there. Blue zone, of course, now starting to close in. The teams have no other choice. They need to push. We got Fear still up in the north there. You can see them just off in the distance. RDX, of course, now also just rushing up in towards zone. Jinx doing exactly the same. 8 teams now trying to cram themselves up into the zone. Not a lot of places left for them to move on into. Let's see whether or not Hound... No, Hound won't make that raise in time. Oh, down he goes, Mellow. Now the last one left for the Jinx team. Oh, those nades definitely not going where Mellow would have hoped them to go.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of that this game. A lot of failed nades and just, yeah, mishaps all across the board. But it is what it is. It's part of the game. And now we're going to see if Rain is going to be able to keep themselves alive. Mellow tossing a couple of grenades across, trying to just disrupt things along the ranks. Right here on the other side of the hill, but he's going to be taking a couple of third-party shots, which might cause Argus to move on up, and there he comes. The shots come straight on through. Down goes Mellow and Hound as well. That's going to mean we're left with 7 teams now, and they're moving straight on up. Destiny putting some hits in. Godless going to find those with that DP. But can they find a whole lot more? Because we've still got some numbers to shave through. We've got 7 teams. We've got 16 players at the moment. AK, of course, still managing to survive there for Ultra 6. He's been just hiding there, making sure he's staying alive, but he has also been putting a couple of hits in, so, well, he's been doing a little bit of work.
Yeah, no, definitely, and of course, you know, 7 teams, 16 players, a really, really tiny zone. It's probably like 150 meters across, but of course now the players are trying to make as much as they possibly can from the terrain here, and of course, see a few hits are coming in as AK also gets pushed. He manages to hold on, not going down just yet, but of course, Fear and RDX battling it out right here on this eastern side of the zone. Ooh, Valeria coming in with that nade on Jinx. Let's see, is Len's and Valeria gonna try and push in? Yes, up they go. Rushing right into them. Cafe off in the distance as well. The hits now just flying in. Ooh, some beautiful plays coming in. Valeria and the rest of the squad managing to sneak on in. But of course now Valeria is the last hopeful can see the players there from Destiny also taking a few hits in the process. And Cafe, oh, lobby it is. Warlord with a beautiful reply sends them off. And of course now players here from Get Gaming also trying to find those last few hits on the players. Everyone is now trying to make their way into zone. Your killer is just getting taken out there. So we are now left with 4 teams. That, of course, being the players from, well, Ultra 6, Get Gaming. We've got the team from Fear and, of course, Destiny. So definitely quite the interesting change-up that we've got here.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, this is what we're talking about. Were we going to see the teams place up consistently, or is somebody else going to snatch the positions away? And now, as we sit with our top 3 teams, that's exactly what's happened. We've got Destiny, GG, and then, of course, AK, who's still alive for Ultra 6, which is quite a phenomenal performance. They hasn't gone down just yet. And now, secured his team a top 3 spot, which is great. His backpack must be pretty heavy right now. And we'll see if he can survive a little bit longer because, of course, Destiny and GG are going to go at it. They both have 2 players each. So that also makes the third party from AK very, very doable here. And if he plays his cards right, he might even just be able to snatch a chicken away. So this could be quite an interesting fight that we're about to see here.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, for this one, you just got to be patient. Just wait for that opportune moment. And I hope that you don't get found out in the meantime. Because you can see the players there from Get Gaming, they're occupying that one building. We got Godless slowly but surely trying to rotate up. Warlord, of course, keeping a very watchful eye there in that little compound there. So let's see this blue zone, of course, nearly done with the shift. Very, very slowly now, just closing in. Let's see where this next one is going to take us. We're also already 27 minutes in, so this is going to be concluded pretty soon. Let's see which team will be able to get it. I'd be really impressed if AK gets the clutch.
Yeah, me too. That would be quite the thing to see. I mean, you even heard it in my voice. I would very much like to see that because I love that sort of come back from a huge deficit story. It's always fun to see.
Yeah.
So if you can make that happen, it's great. But in the meantime, now here comes the aggression. Destiny putting a nice grenade in over, and that's going to mean that they could potentially pull the trigger here. They are just waiting to put a few more in. If they can actually find this kill without even moving up, it could be huge, but nothing's landed just yet. They do have that knock, and if they find another one, then they just have AK to focus on, but he's throwing grenades as well. He's just finding the kills himself. He's like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to be active. I'm going to find these kills as well, and that's just changing the whole landscape of this fight.
Well, because Godless is focusing, wholly on the players there from Get Gaming. And so what a beautiful move that is, though. I mean, Ultra 6 AK just sneaking in, really capitalizing on the odds in his favor there. Moving in, and of course, now that blue zone shrinking in once again. Pretty good play there to get into that zone. But now we are waiting to see what is going to happen between Godless and the 2 players remaining for the Get Gaming team.
Yeah, well, Godless is the last one left for Destiny there, and, well, GG now have the power in their hands, but if AK can make it happen again, he might just be able to snatch that power away, depending on what happens. Takes a lot of damage as he moves down. They are exactly aware of his position, but he manages to survive for the time being, which might just be enough, depending on if Zyler and Scott will actually decide to push up right here on Godless, or if they actually manage to go for AK, because they are aware of his position as well. And they're not looking to let him surprise them this time.
Well, let's see how they're going to play this one. I mean, sends one over. Ooh, does a little bit of damage to Godless. Not enough, though, Molly, to just ensure that there's enough damage coming through on that front. There we go. All right, so Godless now slightly kind of forced to just move up a little bit. I would have liked to see a little bit more... Ooh, well, no, that was a good one. Godless sends that nade right over to Skulder. Now, Zyler is the last hopeful. Of course, that zone is closing up once again. Oh, AK sneaks up the side. It is done. He gets it. He clutches it. What? Wow.
I honestly, I would say cast the curse, but that was totally not cast the curse. That was all AK right there. That was just AK from start to finish. That was what a well played situation coming out from him. Just GG.
I mean, that was phenomenal. Well done, AK. I mean, the team they're getting the chicken, obviously, thanks to AK. And, well, 6 kills, not bad at all. And the team from Gate Gaming finishing with 6 kills as well in second place. We got the team from Destiny finishing up with 14 kills. In seventh place, we got Fear coming in with 5 kills in fourth place. Your Killer is finishing their play with 4 kills in fifth place. We got the team there, of course, from RDX finishing their play with 4 in sixth place. We got the Rain from Hell team finishing in 7th with 3. We got Jinx finishing their play with 1 kill in 8th. Then Team Sabaweli, or Sabaweli Clan rather, with 3 kills in ninth place. We got Empire with 1 kill in 10th. We got the team from God Gaming with 1 in 11th. We got Force 4 with 5 kills in 12th place. Akatsuki with 2 in 13th. We got the Rebels with 2 in 14th. Phoenix finishing their play with 4 in 5th. And of course, the players then coming in there, that being... Man, I sometimes suck with these names. It helps if the clans, if the tags all work out. All right, so Testa Gang there finishing in 16th place with 1. We got the team from Mars in 17th. And then, of course, we got the players there from the Black Clovers finishing with 2 kills in 18th place. So there we go. There we have it. A very, very interesting second match. And, of course, well, we got the third one yet to come. So we'll be moving on to that momentarily. But, of course, again, what a beautiful play that was there from AK. Absolutely phenomenal play. You want to talk about a third party? That was a third party, and he won by third party because the Blue Zone helped to finish the players there from Gate Gaming. So absolutely fantastically done.
Yeah, that was just a really well-chosen push coming out from him. He knew exactly what to do. He was making sure that he wasn't passive, because a lot of the times the lone wolf players sort of, they dial it back a little bit to try and stay alive as long as possible. But this guy was out there. He was hiding, but he was making sure to put those shots in the entire time. Finds himself up in the top 3, and then he played that situation basically perfectly. Very, very good moment to move up. He played it patiently, waited for some stuff to happen. Some grenades started to get thrown. And then as that zone started shifting up, he came, put the shots in, and it was done. What a really good way to end off the second match. But I mean, it's exactly what we were talking about. You know, SAR, they found that chicken dinner in the first game, and they were towards the bottom of the lobby this time around, which, you know, obviously you're looking for that consistency if you want to put those points on the board. And well, now we only have one more match to go for these teams to find some more kills, find some more points. But yeah, Ultra 6 going to be super happy with that one. Seriously bumped themselves up quite a number of slots with that one. So yeah, I'm definitely interested to see who finishes first in the finals, because you know, if it's another team that's completely different, then this whole pool is basically just going to look like very, you know, once again, it's just going to be very mixed. There's no one clear winner just yet.
Yeah. Well, speaking of winners, let's head on into our quick break while we wait for the third and final match to get underway, so we can see which team will be the dominating team then for today. So we'll be back with you guys in a short few. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Right, so we're getting into our third and final match for the finals here tonight. And of course, we've seen some impressive plays coming in with that beautiful clutch coming in from AK there for Ultra 6 in the previous match. So, well, let's see whether or not we'll see some more interesting things coming in the following match. Because, well, yeah, this is the team's last chance to get to get an opportunity to change up that leaderboard. And of course, at the moment, from what I can see on the leaderboard that we have, it's looking pretty tight. So yeah, I think this last match will be definitely the deciding match to see, which teams will be placing in that top 4, and of course who will be ending up with that that lovely prize money here for today. And of course, as you can see, this is our overall leaderboard. Of course, not yet reflecting today's results, but there we have it. So we might see a little bit of a change coming in on this main leaderboard.
Yeah, I mean, with Ultra 6 sitting in the 3rd spot, plus the chicken they just picked up, that's going to be a pretty decent one. And if they can keep up, a pretty good performance here in this final match, then, I mean, they could certainly be bumping themselves up a spot.
Yeah, no, 100% they could, So we'll see how it goes. So far from what I could see, they've accumulated around about 35 points for the day. So I don't know if that's inclusive of the second round as well, but we'll definitely see what's going to be happening in that. And of course, we got the team there from FIA. They're sitting on 12th place on that overall leaderboard. But I definitely think we're going to see a bit of a change up coming in. In fact, I think most of the teams would have changed things up ever so slightly. So this, of course, just showing us the top 20 teams that we've got so far. And well, yeah, I'm quite curious to see how this final match will go and how these teams will then, of course, be affecting that leaderboard, because we've seen some insane plays coming in, and yeah, some great clutches as well. And of course, this is what they're playing for at the current moment, playing for the prize of the week, which is $45 for first place, $30 for second, $15 for third and fourth place, bringing us up to a grand total of $105 for the week and $840 for this series. So yeah, definitely something to be playing for. And of course, at the end, our top 8 teams will get that opportunity to be going head to head with the teams from Umzansi for that promotion relegation. So the bottom 8 teams going up against the top 8. And of course, as you can see, we're heading into Erangel, our final match of the evening. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more of a consistency coming in across the board there from the teams. So yeah, I'm quite keen to get into the match.
Yeah, certainly I am as well. We'll see if any of these teams can put some more work in. Of course, FIA sitting on the second page, looking to make it up to the first. We've got, like we saw, the Ultra 6 team there, looking to bump themselves up a spot. I mean, as you said, if they've got some points, as you've calculated, maybe they'll be bumping themselves up. And I think I also agree, like you said, a lot of the teams will be switching things up on that leaderboard. But that's just how it works every time. Play the games, we get the points. That's how it works. And now we're heading in to that final game of tonight here. And, well, let's see who takes this one out. We're going to start things out with a pretty decent flight path for the players. They're going to be able to jump out pretty much anywhere. So now it just falls down to the zone and how the teams play.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a pretty good flight path. It does really open up the map here to the players. So we'll see where that goes. And of course, we ultimately waiting to see where that zone is going to be falling. At this point, it could go pretty much anywhere, and the teams would be able to be quite comfortable in that zone, I assume. But yeah, we'll know with more certainty once the zone actually drops and we see where it goes. But we already have a few teams dropping out very close together. As you can see, Akatsuki and Your Killer is dropping right there into South George. And of course, the players from Sabaweli clan right there up in North George alongside the team, which would, of course, then be the players from Force 4. So 2 spots already where the teams are already quite close and cozy. So let's see how that goes. And, well, the remainder of the lobby is still busy making their way around, heading off into their different spots. But of course, that zone comes in, lands all the way on the western side, and of course, Cloud about to kick it off. Oh, there we go. First few hits coming right into with Technos, and actually Cloud sends that one off with a beautiful molly through the window there. A beautiful grenade, not molly.
Yeah, well, we'll see if you can maybe put a couple more in. That zone is actually going to be heading all the way towards the west. Once again, going to be a very interesting shift. But this time, quite a number of players are already going to be inside it because, the flight path is a little bit more forgiving here, and the zone is going to be right here. So a lot of teams will be inside already, but there are a few teams that are still outside as well. So maybe we'll see some fights when the rotations come through, but this is also a chance for the teams to once again play slow. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. We've got a good concentration of teams up towards George, as you can see on your map there. And we actually got a couple of teams down in Nova who ended up jumping towards the end there, so they actually did go down towards that military island. Hopefully we'll see a couple of fights happening here and there, and things will really start to happen, because if this plays out slow once again, then sure, we're in for a bit of a slow start, but then we're also in for quite the chaotic finish. So yeah,
interesting rotation that I just saw there from the Black Clovers. They're actually heading out of zone onto the military island to go loot it up in the base. Very, very interesting, like I would have expected them maybe to rotate the other way, but okay, each to their own. We see the team here from RDX, of course, now about to go head to head with Fear, as both teams have dropped down into the Nova crates here. So you can see 3 of the players on the screen, and of course now the 4th one there for RDX, of course, being all the way over towards that western side. We might see the players actually from Fear bumping into him on the way towards that zone. And of course, Akatsuki already getting a few hits going in. So not a bad start. They did quite a bit of damage to the players there from Your Killer Is. And in fact, I think they've been taken down. Yeah, only 2 there. So they're down to 3 now. One of the players, Mr. Techno Hurts, getting taken out, sent into the lobby. And of course, Force4 and Sabaweli sitting up in North George. So just waiting to see whether or not the teams are going to start moving up towards each other in North George, or are they going to maybe rather rotate out to find a better positioning elsewhere in the zone?
Yeah, I mean, usually when we have a situation like this, you would expect that at least one team would either rotate out or try and take the fight. I mean, we've got Sabaweli right up here with F4. We've got Akatsuki with Your Killer Is. And, once again, they're inside the zone, which means that they have the ability to set themselves up and potentially look for a fight. So, I mean, hopefully they will do that, because they're sitting very, very close. But in the meantime, of course, we're going to be seeing a couple of shots coming out here from the Fear clan, or the Fear team here, putting those hits in. So they are going to be trying to climb their way up that scoreboard once again, and prove that they can find those points that we expected them to get up in the beginning.
Yeah, so they were just swarming in right there on the poor player, of course, sending him right back into the lobby. That being one of the players from the RDX team. And now we're moving over towards Sabaweli and the players here from Force4, also up in North George. So let's see whether or not we're going to have some action coming from this side. But if we look elsewhere on the map, of course, we see the players there from Rain also closing in quite close towards the players there from God. So we have, a few spots on the map where we could see the tension slowly but surely starting to build. Some potential action and confrontations, just brewing all over the place. So let's see. At the moment, it's still a fairly passive zone. Nothing major being really required of the teams. No crazy rotations just yet. But maybe, the zone might start mixing it up a little bit later on.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a look and see if that zone does mix it up. I hope it will. I mean, we've got our classic hill up here. Could potentially be inside the zone if it moves a little bit north. We've also got the coast in the zone as well, so that could come into play. So we do have a lot of potential spots where the zone could be. I mean, we even actually have the Rozok Bridge in play as well, which we have seen once or twice before, which was quite interesting. So there's a lot of potential for the zone. Hopefully it doesn't just move into the middle and be boring. I want to see some interesting movements so that it really forces these teams to make plays.
Yeah, we also have quite a portion of the map, in the water as well. So we're already starting it off with a little bit of a limitation there as to the amount of playing area that the teams have. But, they're really capitalizing on the space at the moment. Everyone being quite spread out, aside from, 1 or 2 little spots where we see the teams, getting a little bit closer. But of course, everyone's still finding their way on up in towards zone. As you can see, the players here from God Gaming also heading in. So you got Dixon and Silent about to make their approach, trying to improve their position, but they might actually be moving in on the players from Rain from Hell we have just up ahead of them. So we'll see. But of course, in the meantime, Akatsuki and Your Killer Is not not stopping the fight just yet. Moving up together, chasing each other ever so slightly. So let's see whether or not Akatsuki will be able to get the hits into your killers.
No, we'll see momentarily. Your killer is looking a little bit spread out there on their side. So is the team from Akatsuki, but, well, there is one of the players, Fantasy, as you can see, very, very close here and is actually across the road. So if he goes down here, not really going to be able to be helped by his team, which could potentially be a little bit of an issue for him. So he's got to be careful with this. If Akatsuki find him out, they're going to have to, your killers are going to have to make those rotates happen as quickly as possible. Otherwise, they'll just have to abandon their teammate there in the danger zone. But, well, nothing is going to be happening as of yet. The team's still not really pushing up towards one another. They're quite happy to just sit and be inside the zone, wait for something to come past. We'll see if it does. That seems to be the case all across the board, except for those teams who are, of course, rotating in towards that zone. But as I said, I really hope this the zone takes a bit of a direction that forces the teams into, difficult situations. Because right now we're still sitting 17 teams, 66 players. I want to see some of these numbers dropping.
Yeah, it is in a sense a bit of a comfortable zone, even though, we have a little bit of a limited space here. But yeah, definitely agree with you. Want to see the zone challenging the players a little bit more. Have them step up and give us a little bit more action. We've got Akatsuki, of course, now putting those shots in, as you can see in the kill feed there. That, of course, being with the players there from your killer is. So let's see, maybe something comes from this. Maybe the game starts throwing a little bit of a curveball over towards the teams. As you can see, Dixon now kind of in pursuit of the players there from Rain. Can't exactly say that he's 100% committed to the chase just yet. He is slightly isolated. The rest of his team, of course, you can see just joining up. But let's see now. Ooh, we might see those shots, but of course you can see your killer is here with the team from Akatsuki. Fantasy still holding the same position, not changing much, not rotating up too much just yet. But we see the team actually there from Force 4. They are actually now starting to swarm all the way around one of the players. Just trying to see who that is because there's so many of them right here. Oh, no, I don't even know what happened to that one. Oh, well, never mind. Okay, so here we are. We got some shots coming in there from your killer is over towards Akatsuki. And of course, Destiny just quickly looting it up on that drop. Getting ready to keep on going. And that zone, of course, having shifted up as well. Not a crazy zone shift.
Feels bad, man. Feels real bad. Yeah, I definitely want to see a little bit more coming out of the zone, but yeah, I'm just going to shift on up. We still have some good potential for it. It could still head towards that bridge, but at this point, probably not going to happen, which is it's quite just meh, I guess you could say. The zone sort of just meh, but I'm really hoping that the teams will just move in, start to take some fights, and really fight for the spots, because we still have 17 teams still remaining here. We're moving in, we're entering it towards the mid game at the moment. You'd expect to see a couple of more teams getting sent back, so hopefully that's gonna start to happen pretty soon. Of course, you could see Daz just chilling up in the house there, losing blood slowly. The rest of the team not really in a position to assist. So, yeah, we do have at least a couple of shots coming through, but I don't want a couple of shots. I want some fighting to happen. I want it to happen, like, right now.
Yeah, that's not the best spot to be in necessarily, but of course, we've seen two teams still, they still put in shots. Nothing insane, nothing crazy, but that, of course, being your killer is and Akatsuki. They've at least still been putting hits in, even if it's just towards each other. Get a knock here and there, got some shots going, but we want that aggression. Yeah. It's a little bit too passive. We want the heat. Bring the heat. If it's not working, go sit somewhere where it's hot, and then maybe it'll become a little bit better. I don't know. But we see teams already starting to roll on up in towards central zone. So we've got Force 4, we've got Jinx and Empire. They've already made that move into the central part of the zone. We've got the team from God Gaming. They're sitting all the way on the far western side. Get Gaming also trying to move up into that same section. So we might have another GG coming in there as well. But of course, up comes the heads. Daz now slowly but surely just bleeding out there. Phoenix sitting on the far eastern side. We got Fear all the way on the south alongside the players there from RDX and, of course, the Black Clovers. So I'm waiting to see where the teams are going to move on up into. You know, are we going to head over towards the mountain and have the teams, you know, try and battle for control of the hill, or you know, are we going to swing it up into? Well, I don't know, where else could the zone go?
Yeah. Well, I
Hmm.
mean, the craziest part about what I'm seeing here at the moment is that usually at this point, regardless of where the zone goes next, at this point, there's usually at least one or two teams sitting on that mountain already, taking pot shots across the board because it's a really good vantage point for the
Yeah.
surrounding areas. And the other thing about this is that this particular league, the Inkosi Super Cup, is actually the perfect place to get overly aggressive if you were ever going to get aggressive because
Yeah.
this is where if you really want to try out some strats, it's all well and good to play, to try and get the win, try and play passive, try and play smart, or whatever the case is. But this is actually a really good arena to test out playing aggressive. Get yourself out of your comfort zone, try something different. Get super aggro, go looking for fights, see what works and what doesn't, because ultimately this is a really good training ground for that. Even if you lose it all, it's fine. You just come back next week and you keep coming until you're finding yourself at the top, because it's a guarantee that once you get into the groove of being able to get aggressive and find those fights, the whole game sort of changes for you. Because right now what we're seeing is we've got a lot of teams, but all of them, sure, they know how to play defensive, they know how to play slow, they know how to pick their decisions and play in that sort of cautious mode. But we haven't really seen, like we were saying, that sort of hunter mentality coming out. But that mentality, it's a whole shift. It changes the landscape, and you can really bring yourself to the top if you try it out. So, this is a great way to try that out. It's a great way to practice that and put some, experience on the board when it comes to that. And you could find yourself ending up just really dominating a lot of the games that we see happen here with that sort of mentality.
Yeah, we see quite a few players, or quite a few teams actually now just swarming up into the zone. You can see Empire now putting a quick hit in towards the Zion, of course. Well, Destiny rather. Trip now getting taken down in the process. The players there from Ultra 6 just over towards the north. We got Empire over towards the northeast. A lot of teams have actually now decided to move into this western side of the zone. So it's a difficult spot to be fighting in. Really, really difficult, challenging position to be in. I mean, there's so many players in the map still. I mean, there's 62 players, 17 teams. There's players everywhere you look. If you move far enough, you'll find someone you can put those hits in. So I'm just curious to see how the players are gonna utilize what the map has given them so far. In other situations, we've actually seen the teams, start getting a little bit restless, start going out, start looking for those engagements, taking any and all engagements they can find. At the moment, it's a little bit more passive, but of course, we're still getting there.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, right now, we're going to find that there's a lot of teams and players that are making it in towards the zone, going to find it difficult to do so. Now we're approaching fourth zone. We're starting to move towards the mid to late game. And this is where things start to get really tight, because now we've still, as you mentioned, 17 teams. We've got over 60 players still here. Moving into such a small space is going to be difficult, no matter how good your team is. If you're going to be going up against a wall of teams that's already in the zone, you're not making it. That's it. Unless you can kill everyone in your way, which is very difficult, and not even some of the best teams can make that happen. You're going to find yourself in a bad spot. So this is really the ultimate result of not being able to find early knocks, early kills, and wiping some teams out early on. Now we find ourselves with 17 teams remaining, and we've played most of the game out that way so far. And now we have to fit in towards an 800-meter zone and just hope that we manage to make it in, and hope that no one's going to gatekeep us. That's really not the position you want to be in. You want to have already taken out enough teams to make a little bit more security for yourself.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't, pay any justice to any of the teams. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, we're seeing quite a few hits and knocks, and thirsts coming in. The players here, of course, from Force 4, just slowly but surely trying to make their way on up. We just saw a few hits there coming in from your Killer Airs, and well, we might see the players there from Destiny, of course, now starting to close in on the Sabweli clan. Force 4 now getting ready to rotate up. That blue zone, of course, now starting to close in once again. We still have a few teams that have quite a bit of distance to cover to make it up in towards zone successfully. But we'll of course see how this goes. I'm curious to see how it will go. I mean, Yeah, I'm hoping I'm hoping to see a little bit more of a strategic play coming out. You know, instead of that happenstance that we've spoken about before.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, a lot of that relying on happenstance is a little bit of a mess. So, yeah, hopefully we see a bit more strategy coming up. At the moment, of course, now Ultra 6 taking a couple of fights here against Force 4. We'll see if Force can actually hold up on this one. They're taking a lot of damage. Asriel running out of bullets as well and running out of HP. In the meantime, Destiny also taking a fight against Sabueli. So the fights are at least happening at the moment, which is good to see. But it was inevitable as these teams are now moving all up in towards the tiny zone. The shots are just absolutely flying now. And well, may the odds be in your favor.
Yeah, well, we're seeing some great nades at least now coming in. And of course, the players here from Ultra 6 now put in a very tough position. But of course, up comes Force 4, sends them off into the lobby quite forcefully. And well, we've got the players from Your Killer Ears and Empire also not too far away over towards the southern side of where we just witnessed that fight. The players here from Destiny just trying to quickly recover some health as the players from Sabaweli are just putting in head after head in the direction. Let's see whether or not they'll be able to make it out, because now they're trying to hold up in that smoke and it's not going to last forever. But of course, Empire and Your Killer is going head to head as we mentioned. Let's see whether or not they'll be able to clutch this one out, get those hits going. Fear still looking good off in the distance. They're slowly but surely moving up. And of course, the team right next to them we have there, of course, is the team from, well, the Tester gang. Let's see. Maybe they might be able to make it out, but I can't say the same here for the players from Destiny. They're actually getting surrounded almost. Well, in fact, they did. There we go. Yeah, they just got finished off. So, well done to Sabueli clan. Moving ends, just completely engulfing them there in some lead and sending them right back into the lobby. Now we are left with 13 teams, 42 players. And we're about to see where the zone's going to take us.
Yeah, and it's going to take us up towards the north, which is actually nice and favorable to both Sabueli and SAR. So, yeah, SAR in a good position to maybe just rekindle a little bit of that fire that they found a bit earlier on today. We'll see if they can make it happen for the moment. Of course, the rest of the teams are moving in, and there are a lot of them. We still have 13 teams, so these numbers are about to be shaved. And Headhunter trying to put the hits in, but he's going to go down himself as Your Killer Is moves on up. Skull also trying to move in. HD taking quite a bit of damage. Then he does go down as well. The rest of Your Killer Is now has to try and move up. He's going to look for the hits, but very much needs to be worried about the rest of the teams. And there comes the first, and actually the knockout is going to come through as well. But there comes the rest of the shots. So, well, you should have been worried, and there it is. Out you go. So the team's now being shaved down bit by bit. We're left with 11 of them, and of course that's going to continue to drop because that zone is only going to get smaller.
A beautiful third party though coming in there from Phoenix, just really capitalizing on what they'd been dealt there. And of course, everyone now trying to make their way on up into zone. You can see Sabueli there, very close. There's actually a team, I believe, right underneath them. Can't even see who it is because there's so many of them. Oh, that of course being Fear. Oh, so they're trying to find their spot. Ooh, a lot of back and forth, and Fear going head to head here with Sabueli. Oh, are they gonna get it? No, down it is. Oh, Valeria just coming in with a beautiful play. Great touch coming in there from her, but of course now we're jumping right over towards the players here. As you can see, the shots going in there. Towards the players there from Tester Gang trying to, well, hold up against the team here from Phoenix, but, well, they're not able to do that. Getting sent right back into the lobby, and of course now the Rebels putting a few hits in towards Force 4. Oh. Down they go. Force 4 just coming in with the clutch. They're just finishing them off. We are now down to 6 teams and 14 players.
Yeah, and now that explosion of teams is finally finished there, as they've all been wiped out in the chaos, and now we're left with those 6 teams. The shots are still coming through. Of course, Phoenix moving in from the north. We've got Jinx moving in from the south. They're still plotting in now. We've got Rain and Fear in towards the middle as well. Couple of stragglers all across the board. Valeria, of course, there for Fear, still alive. We've got 2 players on Jinx, and Phoenix and Rain from Hell, actually, the 2 teams that are still stacked in terms of player numbers. So, yeah, they have a pretty good chance here.
Yeah, we might see Phoenix and Rain actually going head-to-head, and of course, you know, it depends on how Valeria is going to play this one. might get caught in the middle of that mess. And of course, Jinx now just getting taken out there by Empire. They're trying to move up now, forceful, rotating up towards their position. As you can see, Valeria now just holding up in the compound, trying to stay alive as long as possible. But the nades now getting flung through the window. That one at least not doing any damage whatsoever. But of course, now Ray and Hellfire moving in. And we've seen that Valeria is very capable of, putting up a very strong defense. So let's see now. Will they be able to get the hits in? Of course, looking on the top floor, of course, there's another one just downstairs.
Yeah. They have to be careful of that, though, actually. If they're looking in the wrong direction and Valeria just decides to push for free, it might just be a couple of kills in there, although Valeria is just playing the wall angle, waiting to see if anyone's going to push down in that direction. So this is actually a pretty strong spot, because in the meantime, with that zone moving in, they're going to have to fight amongst themselves up at the top and see who comes out the victor. So we'll see as teams are moving in now and the shots are flying.
Yeah, you can see the players there from Force4 just trying to rush on in. Phoenix now just holding on to this compound, but of course the players there from Rain are also pushing in towards Force4. You got that last player there from Empire coming in from the side. The vehicle goes boom, and the team goes into the lobby. Some beautiful plays coming in right there. And of course now 4 teams remaining, 9 players left in the match. Let's see, will Spades be able to do enough damage? He's sneaking up slowly but surely right behind the players here from Rain. So he might be able to find those hits, and he does. Ooh, 2 of them are down, 2 remaining. And then, of course, we got the players there from Phoenix still holding up in the compound. So let's see now, will Spades try and move? In fact, actually, Phoenix has moved out. So they've moved all the way over towards Rain, and Valeria is still in the compound. Ooh, this is going to be so interesting to watch.
Yeah, it certainly is. We've got a long line of teams here just fighting up and down. We've got Empire just on the one side, Rain from Hell, sandwiched in between Phoenix and, of course, Spades. And then Valeria also potentially could come up with a little bit of a cheeky third party as well, maybe put some damage in. So we'll see how it works. Of course, Spades now playing up here, getting nice and aggressive here, which we've been seeing coming out from a lot of the solo players recently, which is good to see at the very least. We'll see if we can make anything happen here against Rain, who has still the most players remaining.
Yeah. Well, so we'll see how this one goes. It's definitely going to be a very, very interesting one. Phoenix sitting on 2. We've got Rain sitting on 2. We've got Empire on 1. And then, of course, we've got Valeria. Oh, sorry, Rain sitting on 3 players. Sorry, they were so close together I couldn't really see. But, of course, Shylock is knocked out. That Rez about to go down. Here we go. Up comes the rest. Right, so now they are officially back up to 3 players. Spades still closing in slowly but surely. Valeria now having to move up ever so slightly. Not a crazy rotation there. The zone, of course, only being 11 meters away. So this is definitely going to be an interesting finish. You know, seeing how they're going to approach this one, and of course, which way around this round is going to go.
Yeah, what I'm waiting for is to see how Valeria's going to play it in terms of moving up. But in the meantime, Spade's going to be putting in the hits. He's really just not letting up whatsoever. He's getting super aggressive, putting in the shots. But is it going to come back to bite him? Yes, it will. Because the rest of the Rain from Hell squad is waiting for it. They're going to put the hits in. And now it's Phoenix versus Rain. But there is still that rogue element. Valeria is still here and could make something happen. So now we just have to wait and see if that's what is going to be the case. I think Phoenix may have just all but forgotten about Valeria's position. So maybe there's a bit of sneaky shots that could come in from here.
Yeah, they look quite focused on the players just up ahead. And Valeria now, of course, trying the slow sneak attack there, trying to just get on into the zone. It's not a great distance to cover. It's just up to the steps. Here we go. Valeria now on the approach, trying to sneak on up in towards position. Of course, Phoenix still in place. They now just capitalizing on the compound here. They've heard the footsteps. They've actually turned their attention to the compound next door without realizing that there's a basement.
Yeah, there's a basement and there's somebody there.
Yes, because they heard the crawling sound that Valeria was making with the pen. So, yeah, they've got their attention focused on they had their attention on the building next door. Actually send a grenade over there. But yeah, so I don't know if Valeria will be able to escape the basement section now.
Nope. She's pretty much done.
Well, there's still one way out, which is, of course, potentially maybe right behind her. Like a little trapdoor thingy there. So
Is that a
I've
trap
never
door? Does that
actually
work?
tried. I've never actually tried going out that side, but
Ooh.
this might be the saving grace actually, because no one can
Wow.
see
Look at
Valeria
that
there.
tiny compartment. Holy smokes. Well, at
But
least
of
that's
course now,
one zone survival.
yeah, that's one way to get it done. But I mean, when this blue zone closes in, that's pretty much it. You know,
Yeah.
unless Phoenix and Rain die before then.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It is top 3, so it's a good finish either way.
Yeah.
We'll just see if Phoenix and Rain from Hell actually just slow it out enough for Valeria to go down. Out comes some Grens. Phoenix looking for some hits. Rain from Hell just off across the hillside. Have yet to decide exactly how they want to push this up, but if they do wait a little bit longer, Valeria might just be down and out. So let's see.
Ooh, she is out.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. Pop out of the hatch.
Yeah, I mean,
Still
right
in play.
from the underground. So we'll see. This blue zone, of course, now closing in. Out goes the nade. Ooh, come on.
That was a good nade.
And it backfired.
Oh no. That's unfortunate.
Wow.
That's so unfortunate.
I mean, but that was that was like a 200 IQ play right there. You know, like the odds of the zone ending that close to that door. I mean, wow. But of course, now we're about to enter the final showdown here as Phoenix and Rain go head to head in this, what could potentially be the final zone. I think it might very well be, because this blue zone is not going to give them a lot of grace.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be towards the end here. Up comes the Grin towards Phoenix, does quite a bit of damage, and up comes another one being prepared to toss in that direction. If he manages to land it, then Rain from Hell could actually just take this and quickly, but oh, there it is. That's the knock they needed. If they push this now, play for the trades, there it's done. Azar has to make this happen 1v2.
Oh, I mean, beautiful play there by Rain. And of course, you know, if Azar had stayed down, he would have maybe had a better chance there. But of course, well done to Rain from Hell, finishing with 5 kills in the chicken position there. Phoenix coming in second place with a very impressive 9 kills. You know, that's nothing to scoff at. Then, of course, the players from Fear finishing up in third place with 5 kills. We got Empire in fourth place with 4 kills. That's a new one. Force 4 finishing in fifth place with 14 kills. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we got the players from Jinx finishing with 2 kills in 6th place. We got the Rebels finishing with 2 kills in 7th place. Then we got the players coming in there from the Tester Gang in 8th place with 1 kill. We've got RDX in 9th place with 1 as well. Then we also have Sabawedi Clan with 7 kills in 10th place. We got the Dark Clovers finishing in 11th. We got Your Killer is finishing their play with 7 in 12th place. And of course, we got the team from Get Gaming finishing with 2 kills in 13th. We got Destiny finishing up with 1 in 14th. We got the players from Ultra 6, sadly, finishing up in 15th place. Then, of course, the team there coming in from God Gaming in 16th place. And then, well, Akatsuki finishing up in 17th place with 2 kills. So definitely a very, very entertaining match we had here, especially these last few zones. I mean, some crazy, crazy luck right there, and well done to the teams. But of course, you know, I would have liked it if we had a little bit more aggression across the board. You know, a little bit more hunter team-esque, you know, plays coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we outline that sort of every game that we see the passiveness coming out. You know, it's like, yes, there is. It's not like we're saying that the passive play is wrong in any stance, but it's more like there's a different time, or there are times and places for each style of playing. You know, like I mentioned, we've seen both styles being employed, but the fact is, if you want to place more consistently, if you want to get those points, you want to place up, you need to be able to do both. And a lot of the time, we see teams falling short of that hunter team side, you know, the ability to get super aggressive and find those early kills. And you can see it coming back to bite a lot of these teams towards the mid to late, because once, you know, once we've established that the teams aren't taking those fights in the early game, they're not pushing up the spots. What that means is that the mid to late always means that once that zone hits maybe 800 meters, once we get to our 800 meter zone, things have just really hit the fan because, like I said, no matter how good you are as a team, if you're facing 5 teams just to get into the zone, it's going to be difficult, if not impossible. And that's the sort of situation that you want to avoid. And that's why you need to start controlling the game from the get-go. You know, every moment that you're sitting doing nothing, right, is a moment wasted. Which is why I talk a lot about active gaming rather than just aggressive gaming. It's active gaming. You don't necessarily be needing to be taking fights against other teams. It's just doing things, you know, making sure you're rotating up. Like you said, the early rotation, very, very useful. Making sure you're doing stuff all the time. You're planning about what's happening. That's where the strategy comes into play. And that's also what you were talking about. So yeah, that is a lot of the elements that get nurtured and build up in this Inkosi Super Cup. That's what it's about. So hopefully we see that starting to come out from the teams moving forward, because I definitely agree with you. I'd like to see a lot more just aggressiveness in general coming out, a little bit more early plays, you know, just thinking about like, okay, there's one team very close by. We can take them. Let's go for it. Knock them out. Then now we have the whole area to ourselves. We can loot up. We can rotate in and everything's great. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, there we go. There we have it, right from the horse's mouth. You should have said nay. But anyway, all right. So that is going to bring us to the end of our evening. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. And of course, the leaderboard will be up on social media tomorrow. So be sure to follow Not Even Gaming Africa on all the socials. The links, of course, down in the description should you have any doubts about that. But of course, thank you once again for watching. Well done to the teams for playing, and looking forward to seeing you guys. Ooh, also, don't forget to check on Sauce Drunk as well. But yeah, so I hope to see you guys next week when we head on back into our Inkosi. And of course, we've got Umzansi coming up on Friday. So yeah, be sure to check it out. See you guys in the next one.